Yeah, mic check 1 2 1 2. What's good, Professor? What's up, Miss Tony? See you down there, DJ. What's up?
What's up? What's up? I know y'all had a late night space last night talking about the article about Tariq and FBA. That was a pretty good space. Nice 1 and 2 punch to follow up on that as well too. Shout out to my people over there on YouTube, guys. Tonight we're going to be discussing should Black Americans respect and honor the history of Liberia. This one here is a touchy one right here too, because a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about this topic tonight. I definitely look forward. I hope we get some people in from the diaspora as well too that can speak on it as well too. Man, we want to discuss that. Some people feel like Liberia should be paid homage to the same way that Black people pay homage to Juneteenth. So this is going to be an interesting discussion tonight, man. This is going to be an interesting discussion. Shout out to Black Idaho. I see you up in here as well too, guys. For those coming up in the YouTube space, the YouTube broadcast, make sure you guys go ahead and first click the notification bell. If you're not following Newstoter on YouTube, go ahead and follow Newstoter on YouTube. Leave a comment tonight, share, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Shout out to everybody coming up in here. Shout out to Cash. I see you up in here, Mr. Cash Gaines. Young brother stays up on it in the reparation movement. Shout out to Appear, I see you up in here as well too. I'm sure you're gonna have something to say about this topic as well. I know you're from Africa, so I look forward to the dialogue and the conversation and all of that as well too, guys. Welcome once again for joining us tonight. This should be an interesting one. This should be a very, very interesting one to say the least, guys. I had to start the space over, so I got to go ahead and put some stuff in the jumbotron. But definitely, I'm glad that you guys are here with us to go ahead and get this thing rolling tonight. I got to put that article up in the jumbotron as well too, so people can see it. But shout out to all you guys that's up in the actual Newstoter space / broadcast. What's up, man? We look forward to like I said, we look forward to having a nice conversation tonight, guys. We look forward to having a real nice conversation. I want to get everybody's opinion about this, and just get your feelings as always, and be respectful. Try to be respectful, guys. I know how sometimes these spaces go and whatnot. So shout out to all you guys coming up in here. I guess I'll go ahead and get this thing started right here. We got our people coming in. For all my people coming in, I see Miss Stephanie down there as well too. So shout out to you, Stephanie, and shout out to a number of you guys coming up in here as well too, man. Shout out to all of you. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. I hope all you guys are doing well. We look forward to having a nice, spirited conversation, respectful conversation as well too. And this is from the Michigan Chronicle. It says, should Black Americans respect and honor the history of Liberia? The Republic of Liberia was controversial when founded by free immigrants from the U.S. during the darkest days of slavery. Today it is a symbol of the successful colonial experiment. Yet the country holds little sway in the public imagination, an oversight that needs correction, and all the more so during an election year when politicians are neglecting history for their advantage. The history of Liberia should be honored as much as the independence holiday of Juneteenth, and the Congressional Black Caucus and the Liberia Congress should include it in commemorations. That's saying a lot, saying that it should be honored as much as Juneteenth as well too. DJ, definitely go ahead. If you see somebody requesting to come up, you can go ahead and let them come up. That is the land of liberty known as Liberia, set on the west coast of Africa at the bend of the Gulf of Guinea. It is the second Black republic after Haiti, founded 2 centuries ago by free people, as most of the peers were in chains. The region that became Liberia was long known by European traders as the grain coast for its agriculture products. That distinction vanished when the demands for slaves made selling people more lucrative than selling pepper. The Liberia Project was controversial within the small and hard-pressed community of free Black people, which comprised about 10% of the Black population in antebellum period. One reason for suspicion was the promotion by white power brokers of the American Colonization Society, the ACS, founded in 1817. The group included prominent figures such as Henry Clay, the senator from Kentucky, and John Randolph, a congressman from Virginia. They endorsed a relocation project for free Black people who were interested in a new start. These white supporters wanted to cull the free population as it expanded after the Revolutionary War, in part as a result of the emancipation of some 5,000 black soldiers who fought alongside their white American counterparts against British. The question of immigration became a major topic of discussion in black conventions throughout the 19th century. Most objected the idea as a scheme to rid the land of people best positioned to challenge the push for slavery. They also argue that after 200 years of sacrifice and labor and blood, they were entitled to citizenship and a piece of the turf. Supporters of the project, always a minority viewpoint, argued that life was too short to wait on citizenship and the end of slavery. Whatever the motives of the ACS, they viewed it as an opportunity to pioneer a new life away from slavery in America. So, like the Pilgrims who fled religious persecution in 1620, a group of free blacks fled racial subjugation in 1820, and like the Pilgrims, they encountered years of hardship, hunger, disease, and death, but they persevered until the colony was stable. In 1824, these free blacks initiated a gradual process of separation from the ACS. They drafted a constitution and formed a government, and unlike the U.S., their constitution forbade slavery and participation in the slave trade. The largest settlement was named Monrovia in honor of former U.S. President James Monroe. The unification of several settlements became Liberia. Who were some of the early settlers who established the first African republic? There was Lot Carey, one of the founders of Monrovia, born into slavery in Virginia. Carey brought his freedom in 1813 and became a popular lay preacher. He organized the Richmond African Baptist Missionary and immigrated to Liberia with members of the mission. In 1821, he organized a native workforce to export crops, establish a trade company, and serve as governor of Monrovia in 1828. And there was John Russell, only the third black person to graduate from American College in Maine in 1827. He co-founded Freedom's Journal in New York, believed to be the first black-owned newspaper. He went to Liberia as a colonial secretary for the ACS in 1830. There he established the first Western-style newspaper in Africa, the Liberia Herald, which was appointed governor of the Maryland settlement. No one was more important than Joseph Jenkins Roberts, the first president of the Republic in 1829. When he was 20 years old, Roberts immigrated to Liberia from Virginia, becoming a merchant and aide to the white governor of the colony. In 1842, he was appointed the first black governor of Liberia with an agenda to cut ties with the ACS. On July 26, 1847, Liberia declared its independence to the world. Roberts was elected president and negotiated peace treaties with indigenous nations, ending a series of tit-for-tat skirmishes. The new republic was recognized by Britain, France, Portugal, Austria, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and Haiti. The U.S. dragged its feet until 1862 when President Abraham Lincoln recognized it during the Civil War, no doubt, with an eye on the growing number of enslaved people abandoning plantations. Liberia drew the attention of thousands of blacks with skills and education in the second half of the century. One was Edward Wilmot Blyden, who was born in the U.S. Virgin Islands in 1832 and lived in the U.S. around 1850. He went to Liberia to teach high school and flourished under the freedom of black state. He became a Renaissance man, teaching theology, the classes, geography, and mathematics. He authored 5 books, including African Life and Customs, a pioneering work of tribal anthropology. After the Civil War, Blyden, then Secretary of State and professor of classics at Liberia College, returned to the U.S. to recruit others, attracting a final wave of settlers after the disappointment of the Reconstruction experience. Today, Liberia is a stable constitutional republic of 5.5 million and only one of 2 African states, along with Ethiopia, to avoid European colonization. It was an ally of the U.S. during World War II, providing a critical commodity of rubber. After suffering 2 civil wars in the late 20th century, it bounced back in 2016 under President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the first woman to head an African state and the recipient of the 2011 Nobel Peace Prize. What is important for Black History Month is the appreciation for daring shown by the early pioneers, how they dreamed of building a free, prosperous state during the time of slavery, how they embarked on that dream, and how that dream might be applied in the Black community today. Shout out to all you guys coming up in the space. I know you guys heard what I was just reading. This is about Liberia, should Black Americans put some respect on Liberia? A lot of people feel like, hey, that these are your distant cousins that left America, left slavery, well, actually were free slaves, left and went over and formed this actual colony/country. Liberia, there are so many different stories about what actually went on there. You hear so many different things from the actual Black people that left here to the actual people that was indigenous to that area. So we'll be glad to hear what you guys got to say tonight about that. That article made a comparison. It compared the respect that we should show for Liberia is comparable to the respect that we should have for Juneteenth. Now, I know a lot of people may feel a different way about that, which is fine. I look forward to hearing what you guys got to say as well about that as well, too. I see we got the first hand up tonight. We got Somali against pan-Africanism.
Hey, brother, what's up?
Hey, what's going on?
So I just wanted to point out that a lot of the when the settlers came, right, the Black Americans, because the term is settler, right? When the settlers came, they saw many of the native Africans in that region selling slaves, doing money rituals, and all sorts of heinous crimes. So that's why they fought against many of the warring tribes, not because they're African, but because of the inhuman traditions they were doing to other fellow Africans. And one of the main groups was the Kru. Kru spelled Kru. They were major slave traders, and they were collaborating with the Europeans to enslave and to sell off fellow Africans. When it comes to respecting Liberia and honoring it, my thing is, look, if Liberia is giving Black Americans a package like what Israel does for Jews all around the world, then I guess so. But if it's not a mutual relationship, then who cares, man? But my thing is this: when it comes to Liberia, you should speak to a scholar. Her name is Dr. K-A-U. She's a Liberian scholar. She does excellent scholarship on this issue. So she's been on the YouTube channel called Search for Guru. She did like a 2-hour stream on the history of Liberia and the truth about whether or not there was apartheid or not. The history is that the settlers bought the land fair and square, and they were creating a modern country. Before the Civil War, Liberia was a middle-income country because of what the Black American settlers and their descendants, along with the other Africans who were very rich. There's this one family in Liberia called the Massapoy family. They were a native tribe. They were very, very rich, and they were very productive as well. So, but unfortunately, that country was destroyed because the natives got very jealous. So, that's very, very unfortunate. But should Black Americans honor and respect? Yeah, if you're going to get something out of it. But I don't see the Liberian government going to Black America and be like, hey, come here. We'll give you land. We'll pay for your education. We'll assimilate you. You guys create your own communities. I don't see that happening. So I don't know why they're not doing that. And also, I just want to say, Apaya, he's a descendant of slave traders. His tribe were middlemen in the transatlantic slave trade. That's all I wanted to say.
All righty. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that information right there. And Somali, just like that, went ahead and disconnected. So, wow, Apaya, what's that?
He fled from the space, yeah.
No, he just dropped down the listener. He dropped down the listener, but he wanted to leave us with that little jewel real quick about I guess about Apaya's people. So, shout out to Somali against pan-Africanism. Shout out to Somali against pan-Africanism. I see we had somebody that came up here, reclaiming my destiny. Did you want to speak?
Yes, I did.
Okay, are you on a Bluetooth?
Yes.
Yeah. Can we get you to take it off?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
All right, just be 1 moment. Share the room out, y'all. Share the room out. Make sure y'all support Newstoter. Newstoter.com. Share the room out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Should I think Black Americans honor Liberia? Absolutely. Simply because number one of it being established by our ancestors as serving as a home for African descendants. When you read the letters of the founders of Hillary T, of John Day, they talked about the importance of African people in the Americas who were enslaved having a place where they can control their own destiny. That's one of the reasons why they went there. And of course, I just mentioned Hillary Teague, I mentioned John Day, but you had Susan Vesey, who was Denmark Vesey's wife, who immigrated to Liberia on the Hercules in the 1830s. You had Nat Turner's father, Benjamin Turner, that immigrated to Liberia. You had Henry Highland Garnett, who was influential. Alexander Campbell, because they understood that in order for us to achieve true liberation and freedom, that at some point we were going to have that place where we could be safe from oppression. That's why in the Declaration of Independence, it says Liberia is an asylum for the most grinding oppression. And as one of your earlier speakers brought up, was that getting rid of slavery on the Windward Coast was a big thing for them. When you look at Roberts, when you look at Benson, them being two presidents, they talked about how they would go into barracoons and would be freeing these former enslaved Africans. Providence Island, where Monrovia is, used to be a barracoon. That's where enslaved Africans used to be brought and then sold to the Americas, specifically South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, which is why we have Gullah Geechee, derivative Gullah Geechee. That's why if you look at the Gullah language, it's very similar to Creole and Liberian Creole. And so I think it is very important that we understand, because no Black American has ever been denied citizenship when they've been to Liberia. Liberia is one of the easiest places to be a citizen. And it's the only country in Africa where you have to be Black to be a citizen, to own land, to be able to vote in the election, because they wanted to make sure that this place was for Black people and by Black people.
All right, appreciate that. Real quick. Somebody's phone. Somebody. Okay, I was gonna say real quick. Reclaim my destiny. Is that you, shot on another account? Is that you, shot on another account there?
Me?
Yeah.
It might be me from an older one, one that I was, because I joined one and then I didn't see anybody, so I probably might be in there. I'll get out of that room.
No, I'm saying this is Shy, right?
Oh no.
Okay, because you sound like Shy, but go ahead and mute your mic because we're getting that feedback. But yeah, you sound definitely just like Shy. But okay, Shy real quick. But let me go ahead and get to I'm not sure who had their hand up. Was it Quadir or Mark? Who had their hand up first? Quadir, go ahead, Quadir. I guess you had your hand up.
Yeah. Mark, I don't know what show was up your phone. I was tapping this button 1,000 times. But what's up, Q?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight?
What's up now?
Good, bro. Jersey in the building.
Jersey, Charlotte, Jersey, we ain't here. Hey, should Black Americans respect and honor Liberia? Hey, that's a real question. Well, let me ask everybody: what does Liberia have that we should respect? That's what I want to know. In its history, that was supposedly a place for us to go. However, we do know what happened when some of our ancestors, some of our great grandparents went over there. What happened to them? There wasn't a place where they could stay. But then some of them even come back. I don't know what about Liberia that we should hold up in high esteem today for foundational Black Americans. I'm really asking a question. I'm really asking a question myself.
All right, appreciate that, Quadir. I guess that was it. In that article too, and I got you, Mark. You coming up in that article? It made a comparison that said that we should honor Liberia the same way we honor Juneteenth, which I thought was a very was a I wouldn't say a strange comparison, but it was somewhat odd considering that Juneteenth directly impacted Black people in this country. But I did think that comparison was a little bit off, but nonetheless, what's going on with you, Mark? How you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Well, the answer is no. We owe no allegiance to Liberians. Let me tell y'all a quiet secret that Liberia's representative is engaging in. And this organization called the African International House is headed up by a guy from Liberia called by the name of Patrick Woodall. I think it's Patrick Woodall. You can look up the organization, the African International House. Also, there's an organization called the United African Organization. Those two organizations are at the table, actively at the table with other immigrant groups to undermine and replace us here in America, starting here in Chicago. The organization is headed up here in Chicago. This is the organization that throws the African Fest, puts on the African Fest every year here in Chicago. But when you look at the New Americans plan, these two organizations, along with the Polish American Association, the Jewish Federation, the Chinese American League, the Asian American Association, all these different ethnic groups, these immigrants have come together quietly. The first meeting was held here in Chicago in 2011. By 2014, Barack Obama summons almost 50 mayors to Washington, D.C. to then form what's called Cities for Action. And those mayors, along with these organizations, are again actively working to replace us across this country. And so this affection that our people have for Africa, even though Africans come here to undermine and link up, and also link up with our very enemy. Again, hell no, we don't owe no allegiance to them. And then the people over in Liberia, the natives to Liberia, had every right that once those that came from America who had been sold through slavery then got back to Liberia and started killing those people. They had every right to annihilate them when they got back to Africa. With that elitism that they learned from here in America, aligning themselves with these same groups back then. But again, look it up. The African International House and the United African Organization. They are part of this national agenda called the Office of New Americans to undermine and replace us, along with the Asians, Hispanics, the Polish community, the Jewish community. None of these people are allies or friends of ours.
Hey, real quick, Mark, before you leave, let me ask you this question real quick. Because I've always heard stories over the years. I've heard stories that the Black people that went over there, they actually stopped the transatlantic slave trade. I've also heard other people say, the Black people that went back over there were ruling over the native population, so to speak, as well too. Let me ask you this right here. In 2024, and I know you were saying that we don't owe any allegiance to them, and I agree 100% with that. But is there any way possible that you could see any kind of trade partnership between Liberia and Black Americans in this country?
Well, when those 20-something leaders from Africa came to America in 2020, what was that, 2022, 2021? What year was that? That all those leaders from Africa, it was over 20 of them. That included Liberia, I think. None of them came over here to trade with us. They came to give, once again, the resources over to white folks. And so they're no different than the elitist Black Americans. That's why they joined forces under the pan-Africanist do nothing concept, because they both have the same mindsets. They hate Americans, especially those who are not part of this so-called classism that they engage in. And so not just Liberia, but also these groups like in Cobra, NARC, and Institute of the Black World, who they're partnered with. We owe no allegiance, no respect to these people.
All right, appreciate that. Let me go ahead and get to Apia. Apia, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Let me first of all say shout out to what's today, Reclaiming My Destiny. You came in with the right scholarship that I was expecting that the subsequent speakers would just pick up and accordingly, but for some reason, it's still the same old thing. You're not acknowledging or showing support, love, affection for Liberians. It's like you're trying to run away from your shadow. I don't know how you can do that. History is there. Go check the language they speak, how they speak, just like you. Just like you. They speak literally just like you. The same terminology, back to back, the same mannerism, everything just like you. Direct cousin. And you say what? Ignore the family because they are distance away. That's the mindset. That is the mindset. And with this, you have the whole world mocking a few ignoramus that for whatever reason, they feel that they can just run away from their shadow. Who in his own rightful frame of mind, knowing their history, would even think that they would not recognize Liberians, especially Black Americans, when they are just like you right there? I don't get it. And with the history that's been told to create this division, the first question you want to ask yourself is that who was in the middle? Who was in the middle? When it comes to Liberian issue, I speak with a lot of passion because I know what they've been through. I know what they've been through. I lived with them when they become refugees in the early 90s of the Civil War. Who are those that created it? The same folks that you guys are so much in love with. The same white folks, right? The same American white folks that you guys are so much in love with are the same.
You're a tribe where middlemen in the slave trade.
Real quick, Somali, put your hand up. Put your hand up. Everybody stay on your microphone. Put your hand up and we'll let you get to it. Go ahead, Apia.
Okay, so
go ahead. Somebody
I
keep.
always say,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I say whenever I come to your space, I want to have intellectual conversation, right? That's why sometimes I don't respond to, other entities, But what I'm saying is that if Liberia had been stable as it was going to be, I believe that a lot of Black Americans would have loved to be in Liberia by now. But guess what? The same Americans said no. They needed the diamond so bad. So guess what? They empowered Charles Taylor to go after dough, right? They killed many folks. They provided them with guns. They were part of it. And they were so nasty that they had to flee. They had to flee. And after America had destroyed Liberia, taking as much diamond as they wanted, they brought in the United Nations to say, come and stabilize the place. So they brought in the West African Military Command to come and take over. In their research, every weapon they found were all American weapons. At the end of the day, ask yourself, what did America do to Charles Taylor? The same America, after using Charles Taylor, getting all the diamonds to build your highways and your freeways and your skyscrapers, said, well, they took him to the International Criminal Court. And they do what? They jailed him there. Talk to Liberians and they'll tell you the truth. Talk to the real Liberians, and when they speak, you'll see who is talking. Is it you or is it them? So do a bit of research. But Liberians are the same folks just like you. And I'll land here and wait for other subsequent comments, and I'll come back here. Thank you.
Hey, can I respond to this guy?
Hold on. Let me get I'm gonna get to you, Mark, but let me go ahead and get to the orders of the hands as well. Let me get the reclaiming, and then we got Quadin, we got you. Go ahead.
Yeah,
especially in the 2010s to the 2020s. I think it's not a fair assessment. And the reason why I would say that's not a fair assessment is during the Ellen Johnson administration.
Hey, somebody, mic is on. Somebody speaking in the background or something.
I forgot to go.
Hey, quiet,
Is you okay?
No, my mic is off.
Somebody microphone. Somebody asking, are they okay?
Yes, I am. Whoever I am, somebody.
I am's mic is on.
No, I said it's muted on my end, but yeah, keep y'all mics muted while folks talk, please.
Go ahead, Reclaim.
I am has a hot mic. I don't think she's on.
Nah, it says that it's muted on my side, but I don't know. But,
No, it's coming from Newstoter. It's not from my end.
No, it wasn't coming from me.
Coming from I am, y'all.
Go ahead.
I can literally hear I am speaking.
Go ahead, Reclaim. It should be okay now.
Yes. So during Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's administration, you had the vice president coming to the United States. He spoke in Arizona, and he was talking about wanting to establish those close ties and relationships with the African American community, reminding us about the 10 presidents that were born in the United States that became president. You had just 2 years ago, Liberia have Libya, the diaspora, the bicentennial, commemorating the establishment of the settlement at Cape Mazarano in Monrovia, and yet there was hardly any, publicity outlook from organizations, despite the Liberian government coming to the United States, doing countless activities trying to encourage the African American community to come. I would just simply say that before we say that the Liberian government doesn't want us or is not offering us anything, we have to ask, well, what is our end goal? What is our end game? What would we want to see? I know sometimes we get sort of reactive on that rather than being proactive and saying, listen, okay, Liberia, we know that we have a strong connection. This is what we want to do. We want to do this, in these specific locations, and this is what we want to get done. You provide us with this, we'll take care of the rest. I don't think that's being discussed.
Hey, I am. Your mic must be unmuted. I am. You got to mute your mic.
It says it's muted on my end. I'm trying to figure if Reclaiming got someone talking in the background because that reverb is crazy, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot. That reverb is crazy. Stay on y'all mic. Hello?
Go ahead, Reclaim.
Hello from Monrovia.
Okay, I don't know who just said that, but Reclaim, are you done?
That was all I wanted to say.
Okay, you go ahead and mute your mic. Let me go ahead and get to Quad Did, and I'm gonna get to Mark, and we're gonna get to some of the other hands and some of this, and any of the speakers up here that want to speak, raise your hand, guys, so we can know that you want to speak, because we got a number of people in the speakers section up here, but if your hand's not raised, we don't know that you want to speak. So go ahead and put your hands up as well too. Go ahead, Quad Did, you got it.
Yo, DJ, all I heard from up here and Reclaim is, them Africans is us, man. Yo, that's all I heard. One.
Hey, Charles, your mic is unmuted.
Yeah, I just muted it.
Okay, go ahead, Quad Did.
Yeah, like I said, man, all I heard from them is, them Africans is us, man. That's all I'm hearing from up here and Reclaiming. One, we ain't running from our own shadow, man. We built this country. We stood 10 toes down. Our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts, they've been through some horrific things. I'm talking uncles and aunts, my pops, been through horrific things here and still stayed. We never fled from anything. And we damn sure they never ran away from some damn shadow. That junk is crazy. I mean, we over here building our own things, making our own, the world follows us. We've already extended an olive branch to you guys. We've had people over here protesting for South Africa and a whole lot of other things, man. Civil rights to get you guys over here, man. Just relax, get off our backs and let us worry about ourselves, man. And I've noticed Apaya, he has a lot of he
he has a lot of lessons for us, but he never talks about the people who are going into Congress and the Senate who are trying to get rid of Black history. He don't got that smoke for Candace Owens. He don't have that smoke for all these tethers, but he got a lot of smoke for Black Americans. That's all I know is from this dude. That's all I know is. And I'm gonna land there.
All right, no problem, Quadir. Let me go ahead and get to let me get to Mark. Mark, go ahead and unmute your mic. Everybody, make sure your phones are muted too. You got it, Mark.
So again, first off, Apaya is not just an African in the room. Apaya is an operative for the Democratic Party from here to Africa. Okay, and so he's not just speaking as an individual. This dude has worked in government during the Barack Obama years, and I'll just leave that at that because I have more information that I'll bring to you all showing that he is tied into a lot of this elitist African bullshit about stuff here in America.
Hey, y'all watch the language tonight, but go ahead.
You're right. You know what I mean? And so when I hear these guys speaking, he should go over there and tell the people over in Ghana, where he's from, to get together. Don't come over here and tell us to get together, but you unify over there where you from. And maybe if you can show us that y'all have unified over there, then we could possibly follow suit. If you have a whole lot to say when it comes to our people, mind your business. We're not your business. Ghana is your business. Where you work with America to undermine our people, along with Barack Obama, with his right self. So let me also say again, because I put the document, the link to the organization called Africa International House, and also I'm going to look up the Chicago New Americans plan that will show y'all 2 pages where the African International House and the United African Organization are partnered with the other immigrant groups, and their plan to undermine us no different than they did in California, New York, Florida, and all these places, Minneapolis, Minnesota. These people are here to replace you. They are not your allies. A lot of them can't go back to the countries that they come from. They're running from these other countries. These are elitist murderers and the children of these elitist murderers who will run out of Africa. And so some of them, especially the ones from Nigeria and places like that, and Ghana, these people can't go back to some of these places for the things that they've done to their own people, no different than the Afghanis that you saw latching themselves on to those airplanes when America was leaving Afghanistan. Why? Because they had been working with America and knew the Taliban was coming to get them. Well, these Africans are the same. And so when you look at places like Liberia, they're connected. When I said, look at the pictures, those Black Americans that you see on African International House's organization, these are some of the biggest sellouts in Chicago that you see on that page. And they're directly tied to people like Patrick Woodall, however you pronounce his name, with their African Fest, and the University of Chicago, the most dangerous university on the face of the planet. You talk about Operation Paperclip, the expansion of street gangs, the cracking of the atom bomb. And Operation Paperclip is where they brought all those German scientists back to America, to the University of Chicago, and spread them across the country after they killed all those people. And so these are the people who are connected to one another. So no, we don't have that affection that our parents had with this fake pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism, the Black American pan-Africanists ain't been paying Detroit, paying Chicago, paying all these cities that they live and paying their own families. So we don't want to hear nothing from those boule, talented temps, co-conspirators with these other groups.
All right, appreciate that, Mark. Professor, we got Professor up here co-hosting this, so we can go ahead and try to create, free up an extra spot down here as well too. I'm gonna get to reclaiming. I'm gonna get to you up here, but I want to get to some of the new speakers in here as well too. So let me go ahead and get to I believe it is a Cushite. Is it Mayat? I'm not exactly sure.
The shape, my Cabra Queen.
Okay, how you doing tonight?
Good. How about yourself? How's the panels this evening?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that. So I just wanted to hop in right quick because I thought this was a good question that you posted and then a good space. So I had 3 different points that stand out to me about this. Number one, when it comes to Black Americans and trying to tether us to Black Caribbeans and Black Africans, we don't have this type of conversation. If anybody knows history about, let's take, for instance, the Americans in Trinidad. These were Black people in the United States that were enslaved, and they decided to fight for the British during the Revolutionary War. When the British had to concede victory, they had to concede and say, hey, we lost to the United States during the Revolutionary War. They said, hey, for you Black people who were enslaved that chose to fight with us, we'll give you some land. And there were like 5 different places, like Canada, London, Trinidad, different places where these Black people got to go. This is the same thing with these Black people that were in Liberia, who self-emancipated prior to the Civil War with the Emancipation Proclamation. Black people had been self-emancipating, whether they've aligned themselves with different countries or whatever. During their self-emancipation, whatever form of reparation they chose to choose, that's their business and that's their choice. I respect that. I feel like that about the Trinidadian Americans. I feel like that about the Liberians. These Black people who were a part of were in the Americas at a point, they chose to self-emancipate any means necessary. Good for you. Big ups to you. So that's how I look at it with, the Black people in Liberia. My second point is there was a small number of Black people that were free that chose to go to Liberia. Liberia already had Black people there. So when we're trying to get Black Americans to tether themselves to this, or there are some people who are trying to tether Liberia back to Black Americans, so many of these Liberians are truly descendants of the Black Americans who were free that went to Liberia. It's a small number. So what you're going to end up having, just like we have in the United States right now with tethers, is you're going to have Liberian tethers who are going to just try to say, oh, well, I'm Liberian, bring me back home, or whatever the case may be. And they're not even really descendants of that small number of enslaved peoples. So, those are just a couple of the things that stand out to me. Lastly, I believe that with all of this going on, it's just another thing to get Black Americans to tether themselves to Black Caribbeans, Black Africans, and in some way muddy the waters of delineation. Bottom line up the front. They see the movement is strong, and we are not doing this with any other groups. We are staying on code, and so hopefully people are just saying, these different types of plays. So I yield the floor.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad to hear from you tonight. Let me go ahead and get to Love I Am. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey y'all, how you doing this evening?
Hey, what's up now?
Hey, so I have zero connectedness, conscious connectedness to this title, which lets me know, and my spiritual faculties are very keen, and I hear nothing concerning Liberia, and I download a mile a minute. Anyone who is around me knows that. So I hear nothing concerning Liberia. Not even to ask the question, well, what do you mean? Why would you act like nothing, right? And so with that being said, I also know that sending the free Negroes or the emancipated Negroes, I'm not sure what their status was, to Liberia was a way to dispossess our ancestors. And then also because they didn't want those our free ancestors to inspire others to want to be free. And so I also was of the understanding that going to Liberia, which is very hard, I'm not even trying to be funny, I struggle to even have a conscious thought towards this. So to the title, I'm going to say no, because there's nothing in my being that even has me to think in consideration of Liberia at all. But with that being said, though, we had ancestors who went there and they were rejected. And it was to my understanding that they actually returned because of that. And I don't know that that was a autonomous decision. I was under the impression that they were sent by the American government so that they cannot inspire others to want their freedom. So yeah, I struggle with even applying my consciousness towards this, but I did want to say that, and I don't use Black as a term to refer to even the Caribbean or African people, because they rejected that notion when they first got here. It's only fairly new that has happened, and I think that that's because ascribing to our identity, there's a lane for that. And so I know that their first gen, they vehemently rejected being referred to as Black. And even if you give the wrong image of Black America, they will quickly disassociate themselves. So I think it's disingenuous that they even are trying to come under, saying they're all Black is just another it's like a different version of pan-Africanism, and I just reject it all, honestly. And then I don't think that these people understand that, like, growing up in Black America, you had if you grew up in Black America, you had a positive perspective on Black identity. We love ourselves. That was what was behind the Black Power movement and all of that. We are very powerful people, and we, for the most part, we think collective, right? So it's never been a viable solution for the collective to go anywhere else other than be here, right? And so I think that other groups are taking for granted that we don't know them, honestly. Like, we don't know them. We don't have that relationship. There's never been that rapport. Pan-Africanism was us. Like, it was our doing. Like, that was just us being who we are. But yeah, we don't know them. It's not like I grew up in a household where there was some heavy emphasis on relatives from Africa. Like, that just is not a reality. And so it's just very odd to me. It's very inorganic that that's the type of conversation that we are being confronted with today in 2024. And I think the reason is obvious. I think it's because people are trying to attach themselves to the cachet of Black Americans. I got that term from someone. I think it's Hudson that I got that from. But they're trying to attach themselves to the cachet of Black Americans, and I just reject it all, honestly. And I think that what happens whenever we're unevenly yoked with all groups, just because the blood, sweat, equity that we have here in this nation. So when others are able to attach to us, there's always going to be a part where we're thrown under the bus and they are prioritized above us. So I don't think that we can afford to be attached to any group in this season. And that's for the sake of our survival. That's like survival at this point. So yeah, I don't know what respect and honor to Liberia would even look like from us. I don't think that's a reasonable ask, other than just to have respect for humans in general. But yeah,
they want us to donate.
All right.
Oh, hell no! I didn't hear you say that. Now I missed that part.
No. Somebody came off their mic and said that. So Okay, we got to watch the F-bombs, though, y'all. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. It's a smooth no. The heck? But thank you for allowing me to speak.
No problem. Let me go ahead and get to Sexy Rob. We got Sexy Rob here. Go ahead, Sexy Rob.
Good evening to Newstoter, WPI, and the professor. Thank you.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, sister?
I'm good, thank you. I just want to say, this to me is an extension of a play of white supremacy or racism. For us to feel some kind of connection again. Using Liberia, because we know some of our people, a very minute group, went there. And I think that this some way is a concerted effort to get us to believe that somehow we have a connection there. But I've spoken to some individuals that lived in Liberia and they immigrated back to the United States. And they expressed to me, this was years ago though, how there was still conflict with the Americans coming over, and then sort of like the elite of their country, and they were not getting along. So once again, I think that, differences in culture, differences in values and beliefs and worldviews, it's not we just can't mesh because of phenotype and melanation, right? And with that, I think that this attempting to get us to Africanize ourselves and be of African descent really erases or helps us or want us to, they're attempting to get us to ignore that we do have ancestors that were here right on this land, right? And we all know it is not only our ancestors that were enslaved via rape and Native American and all of that, right, ties us to this land. And I don't understand how we should honor them, but we do. I will say this, if you all know, we do give Liberia some foreign aid, like we give foreign aid to everybody, but yet and still no one is here to support us, and we're not receiving anything from our work ethic, from our ingenuity. So until we can have a real conversation, I don't think any of this is going to go anywhere, and we should combat it, and we should see it for what it really is. Another recolonization in 2024 to take us off the land. That's how I feel about it. I'll land there.
Thank you, Sexy Rob. Appreciate you coming up here tonight. No, we got Professor. Before I get to Professor, I said we got my man Original up here. So shout out to the Elder Original up here as well too. We're going to get to the new hands, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to get back to you guys that were speaking before. Yesterday, we did have a sign up on the Newstoter platform, so shout out. Let's see if we can get somebody to sign up tonight. Like I say, membership is cheap. $1.75 is the minimum amount that you can to support us monthly. So if you guys can do that, it takes less than a minute to create a profile on newstoter.com. The link is up in the Jumbotron as well too. Same for my people on YouTube. It's on the actual screen as well too. newstoter.com/customer. Click that link. In less than a minute, you can create a profile, and you can support us monthly for as little as $1.75 a month. Support Black-owned business that supports Black business. Also, if you do not have that, if you can't do that, we do have the Cash App available. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. Newstoter is the largest Black-owned Black American news media curation platform today in America. $Newstoter, guys. Make sure you visit newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking Black news in Black America today. Visit newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking Black news in Black America today. If you guys don't have Cash App, if you can't sign up for the membership, then we do have the PayPal and Venmo up in the Jumbotron. Same for my people over there on YouTube. The PayPal and Venmo is up in the description. Once again, $Newstoter. Let me go ahead and kick it to Professor. Professor, I know you had your hand up earlier. Did you want to say something, or you good?
room to speak. I can say my piece later on.
Okay, we got you, Professor. We got you.
Let me guys take 2 seconds. I know other hands, but I just wanted to piggyback off Mark. So the real elitists that are coming from foreign countries are these CCP, China. They're the main ones that's coming over here with their elitist mentality, because a lot of them Chinese that are fleeing, Hong Kong and all that during the COVID, they the millionaires. They the billionaires of the country. They using Mexico to come through the southern border and try to bring their way up here. And let's not forget Taiwan, considering what happened over there with that earthquake. And, Taiwan's bringing that TSCMU or something like that chip plant online in Arizona. So, yeah, Chinese, Taiwanese, Japanese, they all about to come over here, yo.
All right. Appreciate that, DJ. Let me go ahead and get to let me see. Polo Styles, Lucky G. I know you up here. You don't have your hand up. I don't know if your hand is working. Do you want to speak? You want to say something before we get to some of these speakers who already spoke?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
Yeah. So the honoring Liberia, it's kind of convenient that we fight for reparations, and we hear the name Liberia. I haven't heard of Liberia since the 1800s. If we're going to honor Liberia, we might as well honor Canadians, Bahamians, Mexicans, all those places where runaway slaves fled to. So I say no. They haven't been through the crack epidemic, the Jim Crow, the Highway Act, the prisoner pipeline. We've been going through hell. They left the country. They didn't come back.
Most of those people, Lucky, could you get somewhere a little quieter? We hear the TV in the background.
Yeah, I just want to say those. I want to say, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, they haven't been through what we've been through. They left the country. They haven't been through the crack epidemic, Jim Crow, the Highway Act, the prisoner pipeline. They haven't reached back out. They haven't came back to the States. I just don't know why Liberia name is mentioned right now at all. I haven't heard of Liberia since the 1800s. It's kind of funny that we fight for reparations, that we hear Liberia. We hear Ghana want to fight for reparations. All these other African countries trying to fight for reparations now, even the Caribbean countries. So I say no. I don't think we should honor Liberia at all. If we're gonna honor Liberia, we might as well honor Canada, Bahamas, and Mexico, because all black slaves fled to those places too. So I say no.
All right, appreciate that. I'm gonna go ahead and get to original, then I'm gonna get back up to the hands that's up as well too. That'll be Reclaim, and that'll be a Pia, and then we're gonna go around the quad and the rest of you guys as well too. So original, what's going on tonight?
Hey, peace. Foundation of Black American Power and Lineage-Based Reparation. Did anyone cite about how there is a distinction between like what they call the American Liberians and the indigenous Liberians?
No, nobody said it, but yeah, there is a distinction between them.
Yeah, because my issue is this: when they got those people to go over to Liberia, when they did in the 1800s or whatever, those American Liberians were basically working for the U.S. government, and then there was this conflict there, with the American Liberia and the indigenous Liberians. And see, I remember when I lived in California, there were some Liberians that I met, and some of them would look at me very strangely when I would say, "Are you American Liberian or indigenous Liberian?" And so I think, and we have to understand about the white supremacists. See, reparations for us has gotten hot. It is a really hot ticket right now. And I think what may be happening is that they're trying to see how they can disrupt it. Now like this, but if we're going to acknowledge these Liberians or whomever, we have to approach with caution, because a lot of these people, especially on the African continent, they are more brainwashed with these degenerate white religions than Black Americans are, you know. And they see, because you see, I mean, someone had said something one day about, you know, it was somebody from the company that said something about Black America. I said, y'all are more jacked up than we are, because they showed an image. I showed an image of these children praying to Mary the Tramp, you know, and then these African women was carrying a statue of Mary the Tramp, and I'm like, this is insane, you know. And yes, you have some Black Americans. They sit up in these churches with looking at Jesus the degenerate and whatever. I don't mean to be disrespectful. I just got to call it out as I see it. And I do believe that, see, we have to understand that the white supremacist is always working to keep a divide or to create a divide between two factions of people with black skin. And the one that's pushing the hardest today on getting reparations is the Black American. Because, see, now that we, as I've cited before, now that we have information like that book, 19 white men who said they saw indigenous Black American when they came to the Americas, and other information, these people are getting very scared right now. But we have to be very careful, because whoever these Liberians are, first of all, we don't know them. Secondly, more than likely, they are U.S. government agents trying to come in and get us to. I don't have an issue, you know, trying to develop some type of a relationship with them. But like I said, approach with caution, because I see even how we see how some of these Africans and Caribbean, how they, you know, how they act towards us when they come here today. And in my opinion, this won't be any different. This will be another way of creating a divide. And who do you think the American government, plus they would get probably people like Al Sharpton, just like how these pan-Africans, they are siding with the African diaspora over Foundation of Black Americans. This would end up being that same thing, and I think it may be a ruse to disrupt our reparations fight. I really do believe that. Like I said, I don't have an issue with anybody. You know, you treat me right, I'll treat you right. But I know how these people are and how much they want to be accepted by white folks, and they'll do anything to obtain that acceptance. And so I say, if those that want to do it, approach with caution, and I'll land.
All right. Original. I was gonna say I couldn't come off of my mic in time because I was in the Matrix. I heard the comment about Mary. Y'all, let's not hit religion like that, because it's gonna piss some people off as well too, whether you believe it or not or whatever. So definitely, let's not take the shots at religion, because you're gonna have some people in the space that are diehard Christians or Muslims or Jews or Hebrew Israelites or whatever, and they're gonna take offense to certain things. So if we can, let's try not to hit anybody's personal beliefs. But shout out to Original. Let me go ahead and get to we're gonna go back working around back to the speakers. Reclaiming, go ahead, Apia. Then we got Quadil, we got Mark. I'll get to you, Cushite, as well too. So go ahead, Reclaiming.
Yeah, so I want to first bring up the point that we know a lot of these groups very well. These groups have interacted with us for over 300 years, close to 400 years since we were brought to the Americas. I mean, we have archival evidence of this with African Americans in South Carolina and the interaction with the Barbados. We have this in Haiti, when an estimated 20% of free Black Northerners went to Haiti. Some of them went on to the other side of the island in Samana, and we see the African American presence that's still there in Samana, in the Samana Peninsula, on the Dominican Republic. We still see Haitians that have the last name Jackson, that have the last name Hogarth or Holly. So we've been interacting with these groups for hundreds of years, and they've been interacting with us. You had thousands of Haitians that ended up fighting and dying in the Civil War from 1861 to 1865. You had Bahamians that went from the Bahamas to Miami and fought for African Americans, so much so that some of them got deported because the U.S. government thought they were too extreme, or that they were upsetting the racial order by the local whites in South Florida.
Wait! You said we had Bahamians fighting for Black Americans. When was this?
Yeah, this was during the 1920s. At the height of when the Ku Klux Klan was in its power from 1920 to 1923, you had Bahamians who were establishing themselves in Miami. Miami, in its early period, had a large Bahamian population, and those Bahamians were known to advocate for Black rights, so much so that the white community in Miami rioted and demanded that they got deported. And this was very well documented by Mary Rowlandson, who wrote a book about this. And it's not just African Americans who went to Africa that just all of a sudden they got their identity erased. They still kept intact with their culture, even when they were there, and majority of them stayed. This is not just unique to African Americans. African Americans going to Africa was not the only group. You had twice as many Afro-Brazilians go to Nigeria, Angola, and Benin. And Porto Novo and Lagos, you have a Brazilian square, and they're still there. And they still recognize themselves as Brazilian descendant, De Silva, Fernandes, and they come from Salvador in Brazil. But yet they still kept their culture. This idea that somehow they're going to try to make us erase our culture if we go back to Africa is not true. And we've seen that with other groups that went to Africa, and we see that with our groups that went to other regions of the world. And just because they went to other regions of the world, that doesn't mean they don't come from us. They originate from us. They share our experience. They may not have went through all of it. That doesn't mean that they're not our people. Just because a Yoruba person ends up moving to South Africa and they establish communities in South Africa, that does not make them not Yoruba. They're still Yoruba. They can trace their lineage, their ancestry, their parents, their grandparents, when they had their emancipation records, to that specific region. So for me, you know, especially when we talk about the Black Power movement, because you brought that up, the Civil Rights movement, they wanted to have close connections with Africa. Malcolm X took tons of trips to Africa. You had Nina Simone take trips to Africa. You had Mary McLeod Bethune take trips to Africa. So this idea that somehow they're trying to delineate us from Africa, we've been having these close connections with Africa for centuries. You had mass movements. Why do you think majority of people went north? They went north. Some of them tried to get out of the country, but they couldn't get out of the country because they didn't have the money to leave. They didn't have money to get on a ship, to go on to the shipping company and go. So they had to find somewhere close by. They can go up to Kansas. They go to Ohio. They go up to Detroit. They go to Cleveland. This idea that somehow our ancestors were just like, man, we want to take this Jim Crow. You mean to tell me they took enjoyment of wanting to be lynched? Of wanting to be burned alive? You don't think if they could get out with the quick, they would have? They would have. They didn't have the money to leave. And not considering these factors is an erasure of what they wrote themselves, but also the struggles that came after that were inspired by those previous generations. So us recognizing honoring Liberia is not new because we've been celebrating Liberian independence for decades. During Reconstruction, we celebrated Liberian Independence Day. During the 1920s, in the 1930s, it was celebrated. The 1960s even. So, again, this is not taking away from our claims. This is acknowledging the full extent of our history and the full extent of how close we have, the connections we've made, the relationships we've made, and how we can build upon them. And because we are not willing to acknowledge them or learn about them, we have these cultural clashes. That's on the African side as well. Africans being not well versed in African American history, not knowing the struggle, being intentional, you get that result. So that's what I would say. And I'm going to yield the floor to others. I don't want to take up too much of your time, Newstoter. But thank you so much for letting me speak. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'll let other people do it.
No problem. Thank you. Let me give a shout out real quick to Mocha for her contribution on PayPal as well too. Appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get to Apia. I know you were next. Like I said, we're gonna move it around. So Apia, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right, man. Thank you. Hey, once again, let me say shout out to the last speaker, Reclaiming full of intellectual depth.
Hey, can we get you up a little bit louder up here?
Your history is very, very rich. Listen, if somebody suggests that Black Americans should, acknowledge the Liberians, it is not because Liberians need Black Americans. Let's get that straight. All right. I think people trying to feel important for no reason. No, you're not really that important, sir. You're not. So get that thing off your head. You're fighting for reparations. That's you and your white government. It has absolutely nothing to do with Africans and what they are here for. Okay, so get off your high horse and start thinking that you're somebody that's something. No, it's right. When I moved out here, I kept with my culture. I'm still stuck with my culture. All right, if I don't know what is culture, then I may lose my culture. But I have a real rich culture, sir. Let's make progress. Listen, I need Africa. Africa doesn't need me. All right, and so I can tell you, just like the way you need America, America don't need you. These are facts. We're talking about resources, world resources that humans are scrambling for. It's a matter of who are your allies, who are those that you think that you can partner with and make some gains out of it. I've heard Mark, unfortunately, on his usual rant, right, misleading everybody. Oh, everybody's against us. If everybody's against you, it means you're the problem, sir. It means you are the ethnic problem. You got to check yourself. Why is it that every alliance that you try to build, everybody turn against you? And you claim that, you're united, you all powerful, you all everything that you said, and you still end up by saying that you're being undermined. It means you ain't that powerful, as you say. Check the history of Liberia. The former president, George Weah, right, was a soccer player. Indeed, he was the first Black soccer player to win Champions League. Helen Johnson, first female, I think, president. Very powerful woman. These are people with credentials, people with high level of intellect that on the global stage they have made something of which Liberians and Africans are proud of. You can choose to ignore it. It doesn't take away anything that they have. It doesn't take away the diamond that they have in Liberia. It doesn't take away their land. It doesn't take away their culture. It doesn't take away the fact that they're not going through racism, that they're having some peace of mind and they're developing themselves. Therefore, between you and them, who needs who? Let's face it, who needs who? So when you come out here and you're making your point, right, make salient point that everybody can easily follow, like what Reclaiming is doing, and stop feeling, whatever. You're not really important at the world stage. You barely have resources. You don't. Matter of fact, you don't. You're fighting for reparation from white government. If I have a problem, I turn to a Black government. If you have a problem, you turn to a white government. So stop flexing a muscle when you don't have one, and focus on what is most important. At the end of the day, right, Africa stands in solidarity with Black Americans. Africa has empathy for Black Americans because of history, because of lineage, because of what it is. But if you don't want to associate yourself with Africa, please don't worry about it. We are over 1.4 billion. We have the finest of the finest in the world. We protect them everywhere. And we Africans, we take pride in everything that we have. But it is only right, it is morally attitudinal for us to acknowledge that when you find another Black person, that is you in the mirror. So show love, show respect. I'm going to leave it right there. And I'm going to wait until Mark speaks, then I'll fight the real selfies that I want to fight. Thank you.
Watch your mouth on reparations, though.
Hey, make sure you include
Hey, listen, reparations you did.
Okay, one person at a time. Apia, go ahead and land it so we can go ahead and get to the next speaker.
All right, thank you. When it comes to okay, and we all praying and hoping that
You have Israeli flags and white Jesus all over God.
Hey, we just told everybody to stay on the mic now. Come on now. Apia, you got 50 seconds to land it. Then we got to go to the next speaker.
All right, I just sometimes don't feel like we need to have entertain some of these on stage. All I'm saying is this. comes to reparation, listen, African Americans deserve reparations. All right, whatever that you've been through, you've earned it, and you have to get it. But as to whether the white man is going to give to you, that's another question. All right, so fight your battle. I stand in solidarity, and that's about it. It's not my claim. I'm not expecting anything. But I just hope the best for those fighting for it. That's it.
Hey, can I say something real quick, bro?
Hey, hold on real quick, because let me because I got a couple super chats over here from Chosen 619 that I'm gonna read real quick. Now this is Chosen 619. I'm reading the super chat, so I hope this doesn't offend anybody. He says, remember the real reason why tethers want to unite with us is because of our legacy, influence, and nation building potential. He also said in another super chat, he says, we are learning how spineless tethers really are. Like I said, that is from Chosen 619, and I'm just reading the actual super chat. So I just want to let the space know that as well, too. But go ahead real quick, DJ, because we got a bunch of hands up.
I'm gonna just be 2 seconds now. So, Pia, when it comes to reparations, we're gonna need all the diaspora and those that are non-American or whatever it is gonna you identify as, I suppose, ethnically wise, to stop saying what the white man is gonna let us do or have. That's none of your opinion. Also, reparations is a debt that's owed by definition, aka special field order number 15. You might know it, aka is 40 acres and a mule. That does not mean that we are not going to get our debt. It's just that means that we just need you to not say what it is you would specifically say, because that's none of your business or whatever the case may be. And
You said I can have an opinion? Did you just say I can have an opinion?
No, I said that's none of your.
Tell him not to come off his mic, Newstoter.
I said that's none of your business. So at the end of the day, you could be opinionated all you want. That don't mean you getting a check. And that's the whole narrative about what a lot of the pan-Africanism hate towards the Black American is going on. Y'all not getting a check, but you could get a check. Just go to your country of origin, go to your embassy, and say, "Hey, we need to sue the."
Bro, I don't need a check. I don't need a check.
Okay,
Stop interrupting him. He don't respect control.
Okay, y'all. Okay.
Hey.
Like I said, I'm gonna just be quick. So.
Yeah, go ahead so we can get to the next speaker. Pia, that.
Yeah. I know I got you, bro. I just want to say what I got to say because I know to get his chance to speak in. We don't need your opinion on it. That's your opinion. That's why it's an opinion. You see that? Because you don't have to say it to everybody else. You can keep it to yourself. When it comes to things like reparations, other ethnicities that were harmed by the United States federal government were paid. The U.S. government has bonds in place for things like reparations. It's not coming out of nobody's taxes. It ain't coming out of your taxes, white people. Don't worry about it. But we understand you still don't want us to have it because then now the playing field will be equal and we really wouldn't need you. But go ahead.
All right. Let me go ahead and get to Quadir. Quadir, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Oh, yeah, man. Once again, them Africans is us, man. We need them. They don't need us. That's all I'm hearing from the two down there talking all that smack. One, what's his face was saying that we've been in constant contact with Liberia and Haiti and all these different nations. I mean, we all know that's a lie. I mean, truthfully, I haven't even heard of Liberia until I reached high school. My uncles know, my family members, none of us know anything about no Liberia. So one, that in itself lets us know that there was no constant connection. They're coming up here with these lies. They're coming up here with these lies. They want to check. They want to be a part of our reparations claim. I mean, that's just what it is. That's the beginning of it, and that's the end of it. That's all they're doing. Two, it was very disrespectful for reclaiming to say that because our ancestors, our fathers, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts stayed here and fought, to say that what happened? Did they like to be lynched and taken advantage of? Hell no, because that's why they fought. Like, what type of dumbass? Excuse me. I'm getting a little tight. Well, I call myself Tory. I call myself. What type of stupid question was that? What type of stupid question was that? That was very disrespectful. That was very disrespectful, man. You shouldn't have said that. And Pia, I want to say this: if you have people or go to another country, become president. I don't know what he said. He said there was some individuals who became presidents and all this other crap in another country. That's nothing. That's nothing to brag about, especially if they're a puppet. If they're a puppet, they're dumb as heck. I mean, you see Kamami, you see Kamala Harris. That doesn't impress us, man. That does not impress us at all. If they're a puppet, they're dumb, and it's not impressive. And two, you can't say you have a muscle to flex on because you can always go back to your government when you live in the U.S. That was the dumbest thing you could have said up here. You have nothing to flex on. You live over here. You can't go to your government because if you could go to your government, you'd be over there. I yield the mic.
All right. Let me real quick, Polo Styles, give him a shout out for the super sticker on YouTube. Now, I have to read this comment. This is from an individual called FBAs are tethers for whites. And this is what this person said. He's sending us a super chat, so I'm going to have to read what he says. He says, remember, FBA are the most tethered people on the planet. They can't see life without the white man. FBAs are the definition of a tether. So this is from the person on YouTube.
That guy lives in the West, though. So what is he talking about? The guy ran from his country.
Okay, so
in the West.
Man, stay quiet. Stay quiet.
Shut up, you slave trader. You guys were
why is
middlemen
Paya
for
back
slave
on
trade.
stage, bro? My last name, why is back on stage?
yeah, Paya.
I am that I am, man. Nobody's
Okay, we tonight. Everybody's kind of they kind of losing their composure on here. So we're gonna get it back. We're gonna get this thing back under wraps right quick. Everybody, too many people coming off their mic, and we kind of losing our composure here tonight. So everybody, I need y'all to stay on your microphone. Don't come off your microphone. Pia, you just spoke, so we got another person trying to come up here as well too. So I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do is because we got people still trying to come up here. The person irritated. So Pia, I'll bring you back up here in a second. Let me drop you down, and then I'll bring up the person irritated, and then we're gonna go ahead. But I need y'all to stay on your microphone tonight, guys. Stay on your microphone. Let me go ahead and get to Mark. Go ahead and unmute your mic, and then I got Cash. I'm gonna go ahead and get you in next because I know you're a new speaker. You hadn't had a chance to speak, so go ahead, Mark. The double mute should be up, I guess. You got it, Mark.
It could be like in the background when you're on a phone call or something.
Hey,
just go to the next person.
Mark, you there? I'll give you one more chance, and we'll just go to all right, Cash. Go ahead, and we'll get to you.
Yeah, peace. I'm Black American on both sides of my family, just for the context of the conversation. Peace. Shout out Mark Carter, reparations. You already know what time. Hey, so I first want to say this. When I was in college, my main focus was ancient history and geography. And geography will teach you a lot about why borders were created. When I learned about Liberia, I looked at it straight up as neo-colonization. Like, for us to try to go back to the continent under a white man's gun makes no sense to me. Even back when I thought I could be pan-African, I would want to go back by invitation and not by force. And especially not under British rule or something like that. They're the ones that drew those borders. They carved out an area to be like, we're going to use our labor force that we had in America to enslave the people there in the continent. People mention the elites and all that. I'm asking, are we even related to those people? Did we do any genealogy tests back then to see if we're actually from that specific region of those peoples? No. So how can anyone even shout out Liberia as a Pan-Africanist? It doesn't make sense to me. If they don't understand what colonization is and neo-colonization, who controls the currency of that country? Who controls the resources of that country? Right? And lastly, the continent has to flee its own African leaders and then tell us about how we're fighting the belly of the beast against white folks who are the issue and had to get lectured on it. It makes no sense to me. Why would we have to, let me say it one more time. People on the continent have dark-skinned leaders who they have issues with, but want to tell us that us fighting against white people is an issue. We are here in the belly of the beast, and we're the biggest fighters. And again, we're the ones that lead ripple waves for people to fight their struggles worldwide. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate that, Cash. Thank you. Hey, Mark, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah. And if you all haven't done it already, go down in the chat and you'll see where all of the immigrant groups are named together under what's called the Chicago New American Plan. I put it down there. In the list, you will see those two African organizations. And so, again, no. As a matter of fact, let me ask this question. Can anybody show us where any part of America that these African groups, any of them, are fighting side by side with us for our liberation, our reparations, things like that? You know, these people are not on the team with us. They're not fighting with us. You know, man, when they come to Chicago, y'all, they go straight to the north side. They don't come to the south and west side, where predominantly black.
All right. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to move it around. I think we have Kushite. Kushite, are you still up here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. You got it.
Okay. All right. Sounds a little funny on my end, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get somewhere where it doesn't sound like it's breaking up. But it's multiple things that I was listening to the other speakers that really stood out to me. So the gentleman that was disrespectfully saying that Black American freedmen, that our ancestors, they just didn't have enough money to flee, and that's why they didn't flee. Many of our ancestors, and this is when you can kind of tell when people are not of the lineage, will say certain things, because many of our ancestors have told us by word of mouth, because at a point in time, our designation as Indians was forcibly removed from us. And so we are the Black Aboriginal on this land. And so, no, everybody wasn't fleeing because they didn't have money. Some people were not leaving the land of their ancestors. And so, you know, that's a very disrespectful point to whatever the gentleman said. That's very disrespectful to say. And there's this thought process that Black American freedmen, that we need to rely heavily on the small amount of kidnapped Africans that were enslaved and human trafficked on this land. And we need to tether and tie all of our identity to this small amount of kidnapped Africans, while completely disowning the fact that we actually come from the Black Aboriginal. I refuse to disrespect my ancestors in that way. So yes, while I may be the descendant of someone who was a kidnapped African, who was enslaved and human trafficked in this land, so were the Black Aboriginal. They too were human trafficked on their own land. And so what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to disrespect any side of my lineage. So when we have people of Caribbean and African lineage who talk about how proud they are, but at the same token, you want to sit and you want to shame Black American freedmen for being proud of our complete lineage. How dare you? You're in no position, especially when you're sitting over here in the United States. How dare you? So that's number one. I have a problem with that. Number two, when we talk about having honor and respect for Liberia, and whatever the case may be, anyone who comes from Black American freedmen lineage, especially if you grew up in the 90s, you're very well aware of the pan-African movement. And you're very well aware and remember when it was people in our communities that were out here wearing kente cloth colored clothes, and they were wearing dashikis, and they were coming in with the big chunky braids, and they were coming in with the medallions. We were learning in elementary school about, Kwanzaa. We were learning all of these different things. But one thing that I do remember is that people were also, when we talk about honor and reverence in the Black community to Africa, a lot of the honor and reverence that we gave was to ancient Kush and to ancient Kemet. That's the reverence that we gave. So if we're going to talk about giving honor to any place in Africa and tethering ourselves or tying ourselves to that which we honor, why is it people are not trying to tether or tie us to Africa? To Egypt. Why are they not trying to tie us to Sudan, to ancient Kush, to ancient Kemet? Why are they so busy trying to tether and tie us, as the young man said, to these newly drawn borders by Europeans? Because even when you think about Dr. John Henrik Clarke and Dr. Ivan Van Sertima and other ones like that, Sheikh Anta Diop, They went up there and they taught us about ancient Kush, ancient Kemet, about the Songi Empire and that whole region over there, the Sahel region, before the borders were created by the Europeans. So why are you now trying to tether us to that which was created by the Europeans? Every time we ask for something, we say that we want reparations. They give us Juneteenth as a federal holiday. Take the day off, but that's not what we asked for. Every time we ask for something, we don't get what we asked for. But as soon as we go up there and something we're not asking for, oh, well, would y'all like to go up there and tether and tie yourself to Liberia? No, I don't. I want my reparations starting off in the form of a cash payment. And I yield the floor.
All right. Thank you. I see we got a new speaker up here, Ray. So let me go ahead and get Ray up in here. Ray, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. Love, peace, reparations. To all the people over in the continent, don't give up your fight. All the people in the Caribbean and all the people over in their Latin homelands. I would like to say, stop trying to force feed Black America into anything. I know a history of Liberia from older people telling how it was passed along that they were disrespected, that the people were showing up demanding money, and then they even have the nerve to have, you don't even know that slavery, a little routine they did. They consider if they had to work for the ancestors of a slave, right, that they were enslaved. But what really happened, they were still trying to sell people. And then when the war broke out, they started eating people. And they are still cursed to this day. The child soldier still eats people. Stop trying to tether us with people whose continent is full of all type of evil atrocities. And universal law says, just like these white racists, if they don't pay repair here, and how you see Europe, it's because of my people. If y'all don't repair the harm that was done, when y'all sold us through the door of no return, y'all keep trying to make money off of us, not offering us a dime. When y'all were in our neighborhoods, we never remember the word. Clearly, if you're blind, they've been delineated for decades. They had African side, Jamaican side. We was cool to shop there. They never repeat. They wouldn't even reciprocate and shop in our stores. We have videos. Our children cried because they didn't went in and take, asking them, "Can I be a hair braider?" We don't hire Black Americans. The Office of New America, as they tell you about white people, they're with all them white supremacists. Because we know about Ukraine and all that. They don't. All united with the Jews, they're united with the Mexican, the Latina, and etc. Which is cool, right? Allow us to fall back. When your last generation and people like Apaya get up here and the way that they say things, nobody is thinking. We've been through enough. Even with Obama renaming us, it came to me like an epiphany. These motherfuckers think we still a fucking
Language.
Excuse me. I mean, I'm passionate because I know my family story. Come on now. You don't know your family story? Let me tell you mine. They had land stolen. They got threatened. They got crosses burned, and they almost got lynched. My great-grandparents had to move from Arkansas on the train, relocate up here and get a job, and they had to build their land all over again. And guess what? No Africans helped them. And guess what? Back then, our elders stopped. We didn't know why they stopped because they realized that it was like enabling them. Every year, we would bring them up. They would make us put on a big fancy show and ask us if we want to give our money to the people out there, and we brought them up there, and they realized, my grandparents said, that it's like enabling people. I wish them the best. If anything happens, we don't wish nothing bad, but just the fact, and I'm going to put it up there, Newstoter, so you can see why I'm passionate. I have the proof of when it started a couple years ago. See, y'all don't realize we did polls city to city, and they're coming up here, pan-Africans misleading them, because they don't even talk to the majority of us. So that lets me know they think they're going to boss us. But I'm going to wrap it up here. I have the proof where it all was over repaired. And they were to the point saying they were dumb, calling us animals, and they said that they would take over by 2025. Lo and behold, they knew this plan, right? They knew it. Okay, and I'm going to put up how somebody just slipped up and told the play. They've been trying this for 13 years. They almost did it in the beginning of the first 10. but people fought them. But now that they're infiltrated with these immigrants for immigrants, including Jug, we are fucked. So whatever you're going to do, you better think about
the language you can be passionate and not curse at the same time.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even mean to. Okay, but it's just like the disrespect that is in these rooms. I heard that African disrespect us. I don't know how you feel, but I think it's disrespectful for them to even mention slavery. I think it's disrespectful that we're in these task forces because they went against us when we said, hey, this is the debt owed to our ancestors. But I'm going to land my plane. It's okay for them to do it, but we ain't supposed to say a mumbling word when the person that are living off of what them same slaves they like to mention, and you ain't going to do nothing like they told us we wasn't going to be free, we weren't going to get this, but we eventually got it. And I talked to my grandparents. She was a civil rights fighter. She said the Africans would tell them no, that they didn't have nothing to do with our fight here because they didn't want to lose their citizenship. Just like they told Malcolm X and Martin Luther King that they are not concerned about Black America. I land my mic. Love, peace, and happiness. I wish everybody well.
All right. Appreciate that, everybody. I will say, guys, watch your language when you're up here. I know everybody's passionate, but try not to curse. Let me go ahead and get to hazardous. Go ahead and get it in. You hadn't had a chance to speak. Let me let you go ahead and get it in.
Okay, what's going on, family? How everybody going?
Hey, what's up now?
Okay, I just want to say that Mark, oh, he's still here. Hey, bro, it's a little blurry. I tried to look at what you were showing. It's blurry on my end. It might be my fault.
Yeah, it'll be lower on my end too, though. Yeah, but that's about the Office of New America and Action for City. Look up Office of New America and look up Cities for Action.
Yeah, I will say this, the elder Mark, he did school me on that because I didn't know about it. He told me, so I do know where to go. But thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I just wanted to get that out. That's important for us to know. Hey, look, I want to share something with y'all. Look, okay, me being in the early 40s, my brother, he been in custody for like 30 years now. He about to get out. It's a mind thing. He's still a pan-African. You know what I mean? That's where his heart at. You know what I mean? That's what he on. He'd be out like the next 2 years, man. And he went. I was 12, and I was just talking to him about it. I'm talking to him about like touch language and stuff. And he feel like everybody should share everything. And I'm like, man, you're not out here in the streets and you don't see what it is. And that's really what it is. So everybody is not understanding our plight because they don't get to experience our experience. I didn't know that I knew they didn't really mess with us, but now that I've been around and I get to mingle, man, they don't like us. And you can say what's up. They ain't tripping. I met some people from Liberia and Sierra Leone too. They kind of more approachable, but them too, they don't mess with it. It's just us. And we got to just understand that, and a lot of our people don't understand that. And that's where it's at. And it's okay. It's not hateful, but let me say something about Ohio. That dude's a weirdo. News told her, hey, look, I know you let everybody speak. When he spoke yesterday, I was like, curse the guys. You made me say some Roman Catholic stuff. He shouldn't even be talking. This dude's weirdo, bro. He's look, speaking of my brother, he calling now. So love y'all. It's all Black Power. You know what it is. We out here. I gotta get off the phone though. Peace.
That big brother hold his head, man. Be on until he is. Read on me.
Yeah, peace. Appreciate you coming up tonight, Hazardous. Y'all know we're gonna pretty much let people get a chance to speak in here, even if I don't agree personally with what somebody's saying. It's a platform, so we go ahead and we give people a chance to come up here and speak. That's why you guys are so important. You can come up here and you can rebuttal what somebody's saying if you believe it to be false. So that's why that's a good thing about having a platform. Let me go ahead and get to and we got 120 some odd people in here, guys. Let's see if we get a couple people to sign up to that website. Support Black-owned business. Support Newstoter, the largest Black-owned Black American news curator. Like I say, it takes no time to create a profile, less than a minute. I got two people up here that's got three. DJ's got a profile. course, DJ Ben had a profile, but we got Quadez got a profile. So it's a number of you guys. Originals got a profile. So go ahead, man. It takes, and like I say, for a little as $1.75 a month, you can support the platform. Go visit the site, check out the articles, share the articles on social media as well to help Black content go viral as well too, guys. So definitely, like I say, for those that can't, we have the Cash App available too. $Newstoter, $Newstoter. PayPal, Venmo is up in the Jumbotron as well too, guys. Let me go ahead and get to Love I Am. I'm gonna get to you, Love. No, Cash, Cash, you already spoke? I can't remember. Did you speak? Okay, Cash did speak. That's right. He was pretty quick. I'm gonna get back to you, Cash. I'm gonna get to Love I Am. I'm gonna get to Sexy Raw. I'm gonna get to Somali, and I'm gonna get to you, Cash. Professor, I see you with your hand up there. I ain't forgot you either. I know you let the speakers go, but Love I Am. Go ahead. You got it.
When I was listening to a pious submission, which I have to walk away from my phone because I don't want to have any. One of the things is they want us to be emotionally connected. And so when I was listening to his submission before I walked off, I literally was thinking in my head, what did we do to deserve being disrespected by the descendants of slave sellers? Like, I literally, that's the one question, if anyone can answer, I literally like, what did we do that warrants the level of disrespect that comes from individuals like him? His submission was full of disrespect, devaluation, narcissistic projection, and just a fundamental overvaluation of himself. And if you're going to overvalue yourself and you're descendant of slave selling ancestry. Why don't you emphasize that when you come into the spaces so that we can make an informed decision on what level we choose to engage you? Why don't you talk about the fact that you abandoned home, you have children in Africa, but you're here in America with a white person, so that we can decide whether we want to engage you on even your life choices, okay? So, please. Now, with that being said, though, again, there's nothing in my organic consciousness that I don't even, my ancestors, and I hear the ancestor voice. Like, that's what the pushback is coming from. It's not a hate. It's no emotions opinion. That's why I'm listening and I just walk away from my phone like you're not saying anything. And it's a giving, it's very weird because handlers, it's giving a handler. Like when you have people who are rejecting what you are doing, but you remain around and you keep imposing your view and people are reject that. No, I don't agree. I reject it. And then you just keep coming, trying to force your will. It's giving handler. And it's very demonic in my opinion. If we want to be totally and completely honest. Now I'm gonna zoom in on Mark Carter's document for a moment. And so this is the Office of New Americans Advisory Committee members. You have the South Asian American Policy and Research Institute. You have the Latinos Progresando. You have the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago. Then you have the United African Organization. You have El Valor. You have the U.S. Department of Commerce Minority Business Development. So what do any of these things, what do they have to do with one another, number one? And then what does it have to do with us? This is the Office of New Americans. This has nothing to do with Black Americans. This is literally a coalition of groups of people who have a known country of origin and have taken oath of allegiance for citizenship. That has nothing to do with Black Americans whatsoever. I can't even rationalize why these people are even in our conversations at this point. Should Black Americans respect and honor Liberia? So here we are as Black Americans having a conversation where we may not all agree, and we've heard that amongst ourselves. But why would someone who descends from slave sellers, directly from slave sellers, a slave selling tribe in Ghana, why would this person enter the conversation and then try to scrutinize a Black American occupying a position on the top? Does that make sense to anyone? Because it surely does not make sense to me. I cannot rationalize it at all. And it begs the question, what did we do to deserve this? I would never go and have never gone in a space. The only time I go in the African spaces is when I just want to see if they are addressing their issues, right? And I just sit in the audience and I listen for that. But I would never, as there was a disagreement, go up on the stage and then try to occupy a position against one of the people and try to condemn them for their position on issues concerning their own lineage. It's a very disingenuous talking point for that Black American to come up to the stage and say that all of this contention is as a result of a lack of understanding. We don't owe them anything to understand them. We have a shared history that predates America, and it was our ancestors were sold and dispossessed from the continent, and that was a small number. And also, Africa is a misnomer, and so I think it's funny to the point of when the woman who spoke and she said, it's funny that they want us to associate ourselves with these newly formed colonial constructed nations, but they don't want us to associate with the ancient histories of the melanated humans that occupied the entire global population. So, no, we were not just in Africa. We are the original inhabitants of every inhabitable continent. And so, why would even terms referring to us solely denote Africa? So that doesn't even make sense. And then they don't want us to relate to that ancient history. They don't even want us to relate to Yeshua, was of Negro stock. Let's wake that up. How about that? So with that being said, I don't see fit to have conversations with people that don't want to be honest and try to deal shrewdly with us concerning the facts. And then think that they are in a position to condemn Black Americans for having a perspective. One thing you cannot do in life is it's impossible for you to take on the vantage point of another individual. And so it's impossible for a Ghanaian, a Nigerian, a Jamaican, a Haitian to take on the vantage point of what a Black American should be doing concerning respect and honor, or whatever the case may be. You could never occupy my position, and I don't appreciate you coming in the space and trying to usurp other Black Americans' authority to speak on such things. I just think that that's just, I don't see what we did to deserve that from these people. And they also, I want to say, rule of thumb, don't allow people to subject you to behaviors that they would not accept from you. And that's just in self-love. And I'll land there. Thank you. Sorry for being long-winded per usual, though.
All righty. Thank you. Let me give a shout out real quick to Miss Rashida for her contribution on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get it to Sexy Raw. Sexy Raw, go ahead and unmute your mic.
All right. So I just wanted to come up and I heard the gentleman state that, it was like our ancestors didn't make a choice, right? A great deal of our ancestors, from Frederick Douglass to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., have acknowledged the fact that we are Americans and that we were not going anywhere, and that we'll stand right here, right? So we're carrying on the fight of the ancestors. I do want people to understand that seem to come to this soil and not understand why we're so adamant about not going anywhere. We're continuing the legacy and the lineage of our ancestors. And I also think that, some people need to start providing in the Purple Pill the resources about this revised or rewritten history. I don't recall any Haitians fighting in the Civil War, because if you were enslaved in America, you were not Haitian or you were not Caribbean. You were just enslaved, right? So there was no designation like these other countries that fly their flags here today. And the other thing that I want to point out is when we look at our history and what we've accomplished here in this country, I don't think people really want to acknowledge the equity that we have here. And they, just because we don't necessarily have the cash, there is other things here that we've done and accomplished that they don't want to seem to educate themselves on, to really know and understand where our perspective and why we are staying right here. We're not going anywhere. And I think that's what I wanted to cover. Yes, please. Oh, one more thing. I'm having an issue with all of these individuals now claiming that they're supporting us, like different states and nations in Africa. Like, we've had multiple movements here against our government, right, in America, and we've not received any reciprocity or solidarity from the Bahamians right down the street, the Jamaicans or the Haitians right down the street, and the African leadership. State dignitaries are still coming to America and just sat with Joe Biden and said, hey, we want your $15 billion, but they never ever said, hey, what about the Black American and the reparations? We need to talk about that before we continue with negotiations. We need to stand in solidarity with the Black American on their reparations. But yet and still, the leader of Ghana decides now he wants to take over reparations and make it a global thing. So that's what I wanted to come up and say. I'll land it there.
All right. Appreciate you as always. Let me go ahead and get it to Somali Cash. Then I'll get to UAP and I'll get to you, Kushite. Go ahead, Somali.
Yeah, just that was a great with Sexy Ron and Love I Am step was very, very powerful. I just wanted to just say that I just shared 2 articles with you, Newstoter. One is the Liberian warlord that was in the country, Philadelphia, and the other is a top 10 of countries that lobby in the United States. And what's very interesting is that Liberia is on that list. So that's all I wanted to say. But everyone else said beautiful things. Apaya is a slave trader. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Cash. Cash, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, peace. I'll reiterate that I'm Black American on both sides of my family. And I mentioned that I studied ancient history and geography and go through the borders. And there's multiple civil wars there that we're not even related to the natives. But I wanted to say this. Juneteenth was brought up in this conversation. And in my understanding, that country was formed in 1822. So before Juneteenth would have even happened, because that's 1865. They have their own Independence Day, quote unquote. And it was freeborn as well as slave folks and some people from the Caribbean. Do they celebrate Kwanzaa there? Since that's the Black American? No. That shit was created in the 1970s. That's that holiday, excuse me, so they do not celebrate it there, in my understanding. In fact, I've been to the continent, and it was Dr. Claude Anderson who told me that Swahili, which is a language that we as Black Americans, fantasize that it's an African language or something like that. Dr. Claude Anderson said it was a created language by the Arab slave traders. I'm off this way. I don't like when people say that we were kidnapped. I think we should be careful about that. We were sold. We were sold and bought. There were 2 people who were a part of that transaction. It wasn't like they snuck in the nighttime, and there were slave trading licenses, right? And I only mention that not in the same conversation as Liberia, but in the same conversation as pan-Africanism, to make sure we understand what we're looking at. Now, somebody just tried to say that a soccer player becoming a president is something we should revere. Hilarious. We don't even watch soccer. Excuse me.
Newstoter. And then my last point is this: Harry Washington. Harry Washington was someone who was born in the Gambia and was enslaved on George Washington's plantation. When the British were fighting against America in the Revolutionary War, he fought on the side of the British and got to go to Nova Scotia. His freedom, first of all, got to go to Nova Scotia, and then eventually made it back to the continent. But it was to Sierra Leone. When he got there, his name is Harry Washington. I'm going to say it again. When he got back to the continent, he said that white folks there who had helped him come back to the continent were still being elitist, were still being pretentious and juvenile with how they were treating the native people there, and he spoke out against it, and it led towards a revolt where he got exiled from the country. So I don't want to hear nothing but a thank you for someone who can be enslaved in America and still make it back there and fight for the native people's rights. That's what type of time we're on as Black Americans, and that's why we stay here to fight in the belly of the beast instead of running back home straight up.
All right, appreciate that, Cash. Let me read a super chat from Chosen 619. He says, and this is from Chosen 619, and Chosen says, tethers will only want reparations if they get dollars. So Chosen 619, thank you for the super chat. Let me go ahead and get to Apia. Apia, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter, quick before you Apia,
Go ahead, Professor.
I just want to say, Pia, as you were speaking earlier, it was very contradictory to me on what you were saying, because you were telling us that you are in solidarity with us, but you was also speaking down to us like we are nothing to you or nothing to Africa. So it just sounded so contradictory, man. You're coming up into a Black American space, basically talking down to us like we're not going to be able to get reparations unless we ask the white man. The white man got to give it to us. No, bruh. It's owed to us. It's a debt that's been owed for years. But you come up in here to talk down to us, and then you say you in solidarity with us. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you can't be in solidarity with her because you sound more like an enemy to me. So I'm just going to put it out there. That's exactly what you sound like to me. It's an enemy. Somebody that we definitely need to be watching out for. I'm going to land right there.
All right. Appreciate it, Professor. Let me go ahead and get to Apia, and then I'm going to get to Kushite. Then I'm going to get to Hazardous, and Hazardous might probably be the last speaker for the night. So go ahead, Apia.
All right, thank you. I'll make it as clear. All right, Professor. What I don't like is disrespect. If you don't know me and you try to disrespect me, sir, I'll put you where you deserve in no time. So if you sit here and you have selective amnesia or selective hearing of folks that think that they can speak negative and expect me not to fire back, sir, you hit the wrong button. I will just swallow you in the meat. Let me put it aside. So we'll get back to business. Listen, Newstoter, like I always say, your stage are considered to be a professional platform. Therefore, I expect that persons that would come out here and be making comments, right, are people that would be able to comment and see if they are, on that level. The lady that was speaking, the forehead lady, right, talking about, I'm a background of a slave trader, blah, 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 and I am whatever with white woman and all that. Listen,
I copied off because you did that to Mark. My first submission was intellectual. Don't speak on me. I copied off of you because you were disrespecting Mark and his person. I don't give a fuck about you personally.
The language.
All right, everybody. We already said about the language, so we're trying to tell everybody to chill on that language, and everybody's still dropping bombs around here. So definitely, y'all chill on that. Go ahead, Apia.
All right, thank you. First of all, you can't even construct basic sentences. All right, so don't get it twisted. I listen to you speak a lot of times. You jumble and you mumble words. You know what tautology is? That's what you get yourself into, right? But for some reasons, people think that you're smart. I don't believe so because you don't sound like one. So let me put you on the other side and move on to my substantive conversation. So I don't swell either.
We call him on a disrespect to a woman. We don't allow it with other Black Americans.
All right, y'all. Let me say something to y'all real quick. This is a time capsule because it's being recorded. And you don't want your descendants saying, "Oh, my grandmother or grandfather sound like a complete fool." Y'all was trying to work things out, but there ain't no decorum up in here. And we understand, the back and forth disrespect y'all give each other in other rooms, other spaces. This is the Newstoter space. Y'all got to come in here with some type of correction on both sides. But go ahead, though, up here.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'll go back to the substantive point. All right. All I'm trying to say here is that as Black folks, right, sometimes we have to do self-introspection in terms of the world that we live in. The world that we live in is not centered just around this corporation.
Start with yourself.
Okay.
Stay on your mic, everybody. Just stay on your microphone.
Okay. And therefore, when you start speaking, right, and you want to project and let it look like you are somehow superior, guess what? You would have to support it with some facts. The last time I checked, I'm not superior. I am not. And you ain't either. You have not proven anything for me to believe that you're superior. You're just regular, just like me. At least regular, just like me. All right? So when you're using all these words and you want to say whatever, listen, Liberia is for Black folks. Africa is for Black
Liberians.
Folks. Listen. See, that's the point, though. You have a problem.
Please don't come off the mic. Please do not come off the mic.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep saying that either. Okay, stay on your microphone.
Hey, hold on a second. Hey, King, I'm trying to bring you up. The room is full. We'll bring you up when someone leaves the queue. All right, stay in the queue.
Hey, DJ, I'll leave the queue. Before I go, I just want to say thank you for holding the space. Great space. Told her keep doing your thing. DJ, keep doing your thing. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Cordell. Go ahead up here.
Thank you. And the world knows about Liberia. The world knows about what Liberia has been through and the success that they've achieved. And they get saluted for it. All right? Therefore, it is out for Black folks to acknowledge it or choose not to acknowledge it. It doesn't take anything away from them. But point is, you stay here, right? In this corporation, you call it a country, I call it a corporation because it is a corporation. And in any business that they say, no one is indispensable. Anybody can be fired at any time. Anybody can be replaced at any time. This corporation here is looking for the finest they can find in the world, like they've always done to build this country, all right, or to build this business. So you got to position yourself in the department where you feel that the people in that department, right, at least have some solidarity, think, and act, and have some similarities with you. But if you try to distance yourself, guess what? Everybody will be watching you. And that's why you feel like everybody's against you. It's not everybody's against you. It is you running away from your shadow of who you are and trying to be something that you ain't. All right? White acceptance, I'm sorry. You ain't going to get it. At what cost to the white man? You want to be white so bad. At what cost to the white man? On this platform, I heard somebody say, she Indian. God damn. Indian? What is that Indian doing in a Black space? And since when did Indians become Black? And you want to tell me somebody's indoctrinated?
Opaya. Come on, bro.
Listen.
Hey, bro. Opaya. You know what?
Your microphone.
Hey, whoever came off their microphone, please, I'm going to say it one more time, then I'm just going to drop you down. I'm not going to keep saying it. We're trying to go ahead, let Opaya get off so we can go ahead and get the other people up here and speak. Matter of fact, Opaya, go ahead and land your plane so we can go ahead and get some of the other speakers up here as well, too. So.
All right, thank you. I have traveled far and wide, right, in all parts of the world. I have never seen any Black person claiming to be, another person. Like you go to Africa and somebody says that, oh, I'm British because we're colonized by the British or whatever. No, none of that. We're black forever. But you have a situation where you can't even tell who you are, though. In one breath, you Indians. In one breath, you what again, mosquito, like a lot of things. So we got to figure you out. I got to start using the chalk on the blackboard, draw the maps, and figure out who you are. But it is much easier to draw the conclusion that you're Black just like me. So stick with it, find your roots, and start playing accordingly. all right, and stop all the rest that you're doing. The extras don't matter.
All right, we got to land your plane because we got a bunch of hands. What I'm going to do, because we got a bunch of people trying to come up here. Original, I know you're not speaking right now, so I'm going to drop you. I'm going to drop Apia, and I'm going to drop Mark down so we can bring up some new speakers as well, too, guys. And we'll try to, I don't know how much longer this space is going to go, but we trying to go ahead and get to the hands that's up here real quick and move some other people up. Everybody, I'm going to give y'all 3 minutes to speak because we got a bunch of hands still up here. So we're going to go ahead and try to go ahead and get some of these people up here, get some of y'all up here so y'all can speak real quick. All right. Cushite, I believe. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get to some of these new speakers. So Cushite, go ahead. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get to some of the new speakers that came up here. So go ahead, give you 3-4 minutes, Cushite. Then we got to move on to the next speaker.
Okay, let me get to this. I really wanted to, the young lady, Love, I think that was her, when she asked the question and she said, why is it that these people, these Africans, they hate us so much? And as I listen, in these spaces and whatever, one thing that I realized is that these people, they betrayed the warrior class in Africa. We're the descendants of the warrior class. And these people thought that if they could get rid of the warrior class, that they could do whatever they wanted and that they could collude with the Europeans and whomever else and to build Africa in the way that they thought they wanted to. And they thought that they would never see us again. So if you ever talk to Africans from the continent that are on the continent, and I've heard this from other people because I've never been to Africa, but people that I know who have been, one thing that Africans are taught, and the lady who does my hair, she's also African. One thing that they are taught is that those Africans who were betrayed, that were kidnapped, and who were sold by their brothers and sisters, the thought process has always been taught to them that those Africans died. So they think that our ancestors died. They don't think that these people have any descendants. They do. And we're the descendants of the warrior class. And to this day, we still fight. When you think of all of the other descendants of those Africans down in South America and in Central America and Latin America, how many of them fight the way that we fight? None of them fight the way that we fight. We are a different breed. We are a different class. We are from a different warrior, and they thought that our ancestors died. Now, for those of us who are the descendants of the Black Aboriginal, those two, they were warriors. We come from fighters. We're not like any of these other people, and that's why they are envious. Because when you look at the fact that you come from, these people suspected, I don't know what their lineage goes back to, these people come from a suspected lineage of traitors and betrayers of their own race. And you're still failing. You betrayed your own people for what? For a comb? For a pack of bubble yum? Some Laffy Taffy? A mirror? Really? And your homeland is in shambles. That, my sister, is why they are envious. Because your ancestors sold out their brothers and sisters, and your homeland is still in shambles, and you have a bum who's sitting over here in the United States telling us what we begging from the white man, but you were sitting out here giving out velveteen rugs in the goddamn immigration office. I'm going to land my plane there, and I'm going to step down from the panel. But I will say this. Please don't allow yourself to become emotionally invoked by anyone who comes from a lineage of betrayal and failure.
All right. Thank you, Cushite. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get to the new speakers in here. We got a number of new speakers in here. So we're going to go ahead and get to them, and then we'll get to the other hands, and then we're going to close this thing out. So let me go ahead and get to I believe Art had his hand up. And a matter of fact, new speakers, before you get up here and unmute your mic, we're gonna go 3 to 4 minutes. We don't want to hear all that cursing either, y'all. So come on up here. I don't want to hear nobody talk about how passionate they are. I'm telling you right now, we don't want to hear all that cursing. Come up here, say what you got to say. Then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move it on to the next speaker. Art, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yeah, Black Americans respect and honor Liberia. I think we should respect anybody that can stay in their country. That would leave a Pia out. Sorry, a Pia, you know what I mean? But you owe us money, bro. You got 40 slave castles in Guana, bro. You still collecting change off that slave trade. Where is our cut? Give us our money. Don't not come up here talking all this smack and you ain't gave us our check yet. I mean, use your brain, bro. Fonty, you's not black, you Fonty. Have some ethnic pride. But we all know why you don't want to have no ethnic pride, huh? And you want to be us. We black tribe. If you don't understand what that means. Fonty, give us our money. And until you're going to cut that check of some money you were making in 2024, I don't want to hear it, Fonty. And then you're going to talk about the pale skins, the Germanic people, because you don't know ethnic groups, apparently. You only know the German ideology of the Blumenbachism, in which the Germanics taught you. You think just like a German. So, yeah, try not leaving melanated areas and come into a predominantly Germanic area and then talking smack about, oh, you like the Germanic people. No, sir, you like the Germanic people. How many miles did you travel to come see them? Oh, yeah, we didn't travel anywhere to come see them. But you did. I bet you spent some money, some time, something on that, right? Anyway, cut our check, bro. Just straight to the point. Cut our check. We run it down all your tribes. I know all the slave-owning tribes, each one of them. So do not talk to us unless you want to give a little respect to Black Americans. At the very least, cut the check for the slave castles. Probably should cut a check for more than that. But, you know, it's 2024 and you're still making money off of it. So I think, 2025, really survive back pay, but you start in 2025 with good faith. Didn't your president already say that, didn't they already admit to it already? They literally already admitted to it. And they still have slave castles. So, I mean, this is an open and closed book. Look, to my people, we black tribe, do not listen to run these tribes down. Run these people's tribes down. You can always tell the slave owning ones because they're out of pocket.
Hey, get ready to land it, Art.
All right, I'm gonna land it right here. Don't trust these slave owning tribes; they're out of pocket.
All right, thank you. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter, DJ, Professor. Shout out to everyone in the space.
What's up, Newstoter?
Except for Pia. I didn't appreciate how he came at Love I Am. She's very intelligent, very brilliant. I've had the honor of listening to her several times, and to hear someone who wants to be Black American, he's on brand when he denotes and denigrates Black women. When I first was introduced to Apia, he was holding a space degrading Black women, and it was full of different types of people in the room. And that was my first introduction. I didn't go on stage. I just listened and I heard the disdain that came from him. And then I found out he was an African who lived in Calabasas, unless he lied. Who all his information came out about him being, with a white woman and everything else. And with that aside, the sad thing about it, and Art is on point, and the young lady that spoke before him, is that they're the type of people that actually don't have a standing on proper history. So I'll answer the question. Should we respect and honor Liberia? Well, the ancestors who were free at the time, they were actually the first free who went over to Liberia to colonize on the behest of the Dutch and the ACS. Were forced to do that. And then there was a genocide war that happened, and they ran a lot of our ancestral slaves who ended up coming back to America. So there's nuances of history, and when you listen to someone like Apia, you can hear how they don't have that knowledge. They want to be this big black African. They want to be this big black cloak of we all black all of a sudden, but you're not. You know, Black American descendant culture, soul culture is something he does not wear it, and you can hear it. You can hear it in his voice, his language. He tried to say I am, can't form a sentence. All of his sentences are broken. It's all broken English mixed up with the language he's actually supposed to be speaking. So I'm with Art. I do believe that we need to shut down people who are not well versed in historical record, who try to demonize us as descendants because we are standing on our ancestral inheritance here in the United States. That's not a chasing after a white man. That's us actually rebirthing and blooming as we were supposed to. Our ancestors didn't get as far as we got, but they did a lot better with making sure that they even told Marcus Garvey to go and kick rocks because they were so far removed that the culture was different. They weren't waving a red, green, and black flag, and I hate to bust people's bubble when it comes to the Black Irish, but they weren't. That was not what was happening. They didn't hate on him as much, but they made sure to let him know, no, we are different people, and we understand and stand in it full chested, and so shall we.
We gotta land it, Rella.
Yes, sir. A pig can be mad. Let him be mad. He's not black. He's an African Guyanese man, and that's how he should be presenting himself. And stop trying to add mixture when he has no parents from this soil. And I'll land.
All right. Thank you. As speakers speak, I'm dropping them right now, guys. So I'm just letting you guys know. Let me go ahead and get to Stephanie. Stephanie, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello. Thank you for the chat. I'm at work, but I'm just going to say this to be brief. Number one, I don't like the disrespect of Black women. Okay, I don't like Black women being disrespected. I don't like Black men being disrespected as well. And for some freaking foreigner to come over here and disrespect a Black woman kills me. And he's not even pretty himself. He looks like a freaking gecko. Okay, speak on your own self and stop disrespecting my people. If you don't like it, you get the hell on out of here. This ain't the space for you. Okay, number one. This man never talks about how his country of Ghana filed for bankruptcy back in 2023. He never brings that up, but he always talks about the beauty and the culture of his country. We get all of that, okay? The only reason, I'm just going to start with this. Do I think Black Americans should respect and honor Liberia? Black America respects and honor anybody as long as you honor and respect Black America back. We always respected other people's culture. The problem is when people come here, they don't respect ours. That's the problem. And I think that we should focus on ourselves and build amongst ourselves first before we can start branching out and helping, doing stuff with other people. All of this is another form of forced teaming, trying to bully us or guilt us into allyship. So to speak, it's low key, but it's there. You can see wording and everything. It's like force team. Okay, they're trying to guilt us into allyship, and they're trying to guilt us into rebuilding these other countries for them. And we gotta take a look back and say, hey, communities need a lot of work. Our kids need a lot of work.
You breaking up, Stephanie. Stephanie, you breaking up. You breaking up.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. All of this is forced teaming and forced allies. Okay. From the year of return to the door of return to all these other so-called let's welcome Black Americans back. The only thing they want from us is money. Okay. They want us to help them build their economy in their country. This is, to me, I take it as a hoax. Okay. I take this as a hoax. I respect everybody. I respect what they do. but we got to start focusing on ourselves and putting the money back in our community. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And this man's country went broke back in September of 2023. He never brings that up. September 2023 was the 17th file for bankruptcy in order to save the economy over there. But how come he's not addressing that? And this man is always talking crap. I don't even know why he comes into these spaces. He's so heavily involved. He was even at one point talking about how come they're not entitled to reparations. This man constantly keeps doing and disruptive. He should never be allowed to come here and speak. I don't care what he does, but that's none of my business. I don't care, but I don't like the disrespect of another black woman. And I'm just going to leave it right there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate you coming up here tonight. Let me go ahead and get to Cadillac. Cadillac, you up here?
Yeah, I'm up here on my phone. I couldn't hear the last two speakers. That's why I dropped down and came back. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, you kind of low, but go ahead.
Yeah, if you on your Bluetooth, bro, get off of it.
Yeah, because you real low.
I really can't because I'm riding. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Just talk loud. I'm going to be real quick. This guy, Apaya, that was very disrespectful, the shit, my bad, the stuff he was saying. If you go on Google, Indian tribes, I can't hear nothing. If you go Google Indian tribes in Africa, you will find out that they got Indian tribes in Africa. So that means that this man up here speaking on this and he don't even know his own history. Like, that's all I'm going to say, bro. Thanks for letting me speak.
All right, no problem, Cadillac. No problem. Let me go ahead and get to let me see who the next speaker is. Let me go ahead and get to
whoever said they couldn't hear, drop down and come back up. That's your phone.
King Armstrong. King Armstrong, you still up here? I think he must have dropped now. So let me get to Rob then. Rob, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yo, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's up?
Man, I just want to say this. I don't see how y'all can sit here and allow this African to come up here and assault Love I Am. Since he insulted her, I'm going to call him what he is, which is a filthy African. They come over here, like, you've done nothing with your life, bro. You're a failure. Your homeland is a failure. Everything about you spells failure, bro. You come over here and become cab drivers, bro. Y'all stink. Y'all are ugly. And y'all are broke. Don't ever in your life talk about anybody who come from a lineage of fighters. Y'all are nothing, bro. That's all I got to say.
Alrighty. Is King Armstrong still up here? Is he gone? Okay, I don't see King Armstrong up here. And first, let me say this right here. We didn't allow anybody to assault anybody. So let's get that right. That I don't know if anybody knows what actual assault is, but it's virtually impossible to assault somebody over the phone or over the internet too. So let's just let's kind of chill on that assault thing right here. He came up here, he said some slick stuff about black people, period. And that's why I just let him go ahead. So other black people can go ahead and go in on him or speak and say what they got to say. But there was no assault up here. Nobody was assaulted. Nobody was injured. We have people that sit up on these spaces or online and everything and talk smack one to each other, but nobody was assaulted up here. So let's just go ahead and let's just not go ahead and act like, as the old timers would say, it's the end of the world. Love I Am is a big girl. She's going to go ahead and she's going to respond. She's going to say what she's got to say as a woman, and we're going to let her speak and say what she's got to say on it. But I'm going to sit up here with this being a Newstoter platform, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this right here to anybody, to a man and to a woman in this space. Nobody in this space, me, DJ, or Professor, allowed anybody, man or woman, to be assaulted in this space right here. The dude came up here, he said some slick stuff, and then people responded. Everybody came up here, responded, and said what they had to say. So there was no assault. I'm just going to say that real quick. Then we're going to move on and go to the next speaker. Let me go ahead and since I don't see Armstrong up here, let me get to Fahima. Matter of fact, we're not going to take any other speakers that come up here unless the dude King Armstrong comes back up here. So we're not going to get any more new speakers up here. DJ Professor, let me go ahead and get to Fahima. Fahima, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, greeting,
Newstoter. I just tuned in, so I don't know what I'm about to bring up was addressing, and I wanted to mention something else from the program you had last night. And I put it in the timeline. Harriet Tubman's family were amongst those that repatriated to Liberia. I don't know who was discussed the history of Liberia, and I'm not going to go into it. I would hope that it was. And one of her descendants was president well into the 20th century. He died in 1971. And you had a situation where President Monroe sent, people willingly went. No one made them go, willingly went. And that, to a large extent, they were furthering the agenda of the colonies, of the colonizer here in the United States. And that was the crux of the Civil War. And I actually happen to know a gentleman whose family had repatriated, and they had came back. Their ancestors were amongst those who had left, and they came back. This was the whole source of the Civil War. So I don't know if it was discussed, because I tuned in late and I heard people talking about respect. I don't know if the history of Liberia was even discussed on this platform, but I don't know if people knew that President Tubman in Liberia was a direct descendant and a relative of Harriet Tubman. Now, just very briefly, I was listening to your program from last night, and it was said that you indicated you didn't know anything about Tariq Nasheed being a pan-Africanist. Well, Tariq Nasheed produced Hidden Colors, which was a series.
Fahima, real quick, real quick, but I'm saying real quick, that doesn't have anything to do with tonight.
I just wanted to address it real quick. He did the series Hidden Colors with a bunch of Afrocentric scholars, and he did the documentary on the 1807 Haitian Revolution, which he still sells, by the way. And I heard you in the recording say you didn't know anything about him being a Pan-Africanist. And I'll land me.
All righty. Thank you, Fahima. We appreciate you coming up here tonight. So shout out to you, Fahima. The company, are you going to say something? Are you going to speak? You came up here. Do you want to say something real quick before we get to the old hands up here? The company, are you here? Okay. I'm going to ask you one more time. Company, are you here? Okay. I guess the company isn't saying anything, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the company. Okay. Let me go ahead and get to Love I Am. I'm gonna let you go ahead and because I know you probably want to respond to the stuff that Apia was saying, so you got it.
Okay, so if you noticed when I was addressing Apia, although my comment was personalized to him, I didn't do an ad hominem. He does descend from slave sellers, the Fancy tribe in Ghana. I don't believe that Black Americans have done anything to deserve and warrant the disrespect that he initiates. Me personalizing my second submission to this space to him was because he was personalizing his comments to Black Americans. So again, I don't see fit to even acknowledge him, to be honest. I can't rationalize why he wound up in this conversation, and I don't think that it makes sense for him to be oppositional to Black Americans just addressing the title, right? And so I don't see where that has to even get into my intellectual capacity or anything like that. I just wanted to tell people though, don't feel the need to be like, love I am, blah, 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 because I say some things that I just don't want people to, I don't even want you to feel like you have to do that. But I was just going to say Ghana's year of return brought in 1.9 billion in 2019. Now, granted, everyone that was returning was not Black American. There was a lot of us. It brought in 1.9 billion. All of that revenue that was generated, none of it was given back to Black Americans in any capacity. And then to learn that a few years later, Ghana filed bankruptcy, that just lets you know what the return on our investment would be. So we don't have to speculate. Okay, so that's how you use critical thought process for certain things. If our investment to the year of return, whatever that would be, brought in 1.9 billion, the capital that was generated, none of it was returned to our community. And then in addition to that, they filed bankruptcy subsequently. So yeah, there's that. And that's exactly what it would look like. See, you informed me that you're talking about sending monies to Liberia, is what is behind this entire title. So that's why that would be relevant. Us sending money anywhere at this point is a no. In my opinion, Black Americans.
No, we weren't talking about sending money over there. It was just this article talking about the respect for Liberia and even making a comparison between we should have respect and honor Liberia the same way we do Juneteenth. But no, there was nothing about. I think somebody may have been joking and said something about donations.
Oh, remember in my first submission?
Yeah, somebody came off the microphone and said they want donations, but that's not true.
Oh, I thought that was you.
No, that wasn't me.
My bad. Well, just at face value of the topic, I'm done. But at face value of the topic, Black Americans, we respect everyone that respect us, and what we are not doing is engaging in non-reciprocal relationships any longer. So that's it. Thank you. I apologize for that.
No, it was no. I think somebody came off the mic and said donations, but I think
did. I thought that was you.
No. I didn't hear anything about donations, so I have to go ahead and say that. King Armstrong, your microphone is working now. Go ahead, because I know you was up here and you disconnected, but go ahead. You there, King Armstrong? King Armstrong, unmute your mic. Are you there? I'm not sure if King Armstrong is still here or not, so let's go to Ray. Ray, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I would like to say the Newstoter and white people are anti-Black, and Professor Krauss now. I apologize for the language, so I will say this so eloquently. I put the Civil Rights Bill up there and everything that it entails, and that is the repair that you receive directly from Black Americans and from our elders, not our ancestors' fight. It was specifically because we were the minority, and they fought for everything in that Civil Rights Bill for us, for a better tomorrow than their yesterday. But you benefit off of it. And y'all never, ever want to just show respect. But that's cool. But I will say this. I am the descendant of the slave that could not die, master could not kill, they did not give up, down to the elder that went into the civil rights fight, that went into the boycotts. I think we don't give them enough credit. Because if you talk to them, they will meet at the church and say, now, you know, some of us going to die, some of us is going to be to jail, and some of us going to make it. But the bigger picture was they did it for the future, which relied in their children. And all we're saying is that we're taking a pause, we're delineating, and we want to pour everything that we fight for into our community and our children. I don't understand the problem when we say that we want the reparations to be lineage-based because it was promised to our elders, not yours. I don't know why nobody is coming up on the stage telling us what they're achieving for the future of Africa, which relies on their children, or the Caribbeans, or the whole diaspora that we're not. But I tell you one thing, I think y'all have mistaken us for ignorant. We have saved every hate thing from the beginning of this little war y'all had amongst yourselves when we just simply said it's going to be lineage-based. I posted some of the beginning back in 2021, early 22. So y'all have labeled us as a hate group. We are the only ones that ever fought for the diaspora or the African. The nerve of you. This is like a bad relationship. But one thing I do want to say, we're out here working. I don't know. Y'all see us, because we're Black American. We're lit on our downtime, shooting the ones, roasting, ripping, or whatever y'all want to call it. But trust and believe me, we are working our way to get up in the government that we already knew was nothing but politics and bullshit, right? But now that we see that y'all get in there, and instead of y'all saying, you know what, this community helped me so much, let me talk to Office of New American, let me talk to NARD and Cobra, and let us include them so that they can be included, because we are able to check Black American, get into their HBCUs, we're able to benefit off of the Civil Rights Bill, even down to your children. But you know what? We're all working to get our foot in the Senate. That's $1,200. We're going to vote with 1,000 votes to put our people in there. We're in the polls this year. We're going to know exactly what number of Democrat votes and Republican votes. We're going to get peer counseling, and we're going to help that prison the pipeline, help all children, to help the identity crisis that y'all suffering. And I just want to land my mic right there. And I wish everybody love, peace, and repair.
All right. Thank you, sister. We appreciate it. I'm going to let my two co-hosts go ahead and say something, get a final word, and we're going to go ahead and close this thing out for the night. Jared, I guess I'll let you up here real quick. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, though, Jared, because we're trying to close this out for the night. So go ahead. You got something you want to add to the conversation?
You talking to me?
You're Jared, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We go ahead and give you 2 minutes, and then we're getting ready to close this thing out.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna be too long. I just, from what I've heard in the conversation, I've been in it a few hours now.
Because see, this is important, right? And
okay.
And moving forward, you know what I mean? Because if we don't understand these things, right?
Who is talking?
And you know, these Negroes, right?
Okay.
King Armstrong.
Okay, because I'm trying to see who is talking. Is that you, King Armstrong? Because I tried to get you a few times. Was that you, King Armstrong?
Yeah, I just dropped them.
Right? This shit is the bootleg. Right? Okay, so when we talk about lineage,
Who in the hell is that talking?
right? What's tied to the land and how? Which way? Right? And then we approach the people who are actually indigenous to this land, right? And have the records to prove it, regardless of the tribal.
Hey, who is talking?
Twitter is trash. This is why I'll be telling y'all we need to move off this platform, bro.
Yeah, because I keep muting and people still talking. Like, who is that talking?
I have no idea, bro. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, though.
All right. Who is that?
I ain't got nothing to say on the back end. You know, all people said what we had to say, but I'll say this just to close out. Love I am. Ain't no man gonna come up in here and disrespect you in front of us, sister. So what I want y'all, all black people, to start doing is having these same conversations in other spaces outside of Newstoter, and then it falls back to Newstoter. I don't know who that, whoever that is.
Hey, who is speaking? Who's speaking?
King. You know
I don't even see the King dude. Where the hell King at? Drop King down because I don't see King. I don't see King. Drop him.
It's crazy.
Hey, I don't even see. Do you see? Hey, DJ, do you see King?
No, I dropped him. That's what I'm trying to tell you. How is he even still able to speak?
I have no idea.
You know what I'm saying?
Dang, I didn't get to speak my piece.
Hey, well, yeah, let Jared go, but you know, it is what
Hey,
it is.
Jared, go ahead real quick.
Yeah, the only thing I really wanted to say, man, is there's a lot of feelings involved, but I feel like what could further us ahead is think about it in a business sense. What can Liberia and Black Americans do for each other?
I'm in the country right now. I'm gonna laugh this one off right now because I can't hear shit, right? Obviously,
Okay. This joke is, hey.
I'm in the country right now. I'm on business.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Let me go ahead and close this space out because this dude, I don't know how the hell he keeps speaking here. God damn, what in the world is this right here? Okay, space over with. I'm not even trying to entertain this magpie stuff. I'm out. We'll be back. See y'all. Peace.